The RM of Rosedale is located to the north and west of Neepawa, stretching west to Franklin and north to Kelwood. The total land area is 865 square kilometers, divided into 6 wards, each with its own member of council. At the top of the September meeting of the RM of Rosedale, they heard a presentation from Way to Go Consulting regarding a water rate study they had commissioned for the communities of Kelwood and Eden. While for Eden, the recommendation was to put a capital plan in place and then review rates again in 2026, as they were sufficient for the time being, in Kelwood, the rates were not covering the costs. The recommendation, in brief, is to increase rates incrementally over the next 3 years. Even with the rate increases, the overall rate for the community would still be only in the lower middle when compared to rates across the province. As with last month, Council dug deeply into their responsibilities when it comes to providing approaches and culverts to residents. The need to come up with a policy and not discuss each request as it comes in was reiterated, although without such a policy currently in place, they continue to have to consider each request. Historically, Council has provided these to homeowners, but the volume and the cost is prohibitive at this point. The conversation around this subject is ongoing. Also covered at this meeting were the deficit recovery plan, municipal road repairs, tax prepayment discounts, the hiring of a new foreman, and policy for maintaining undeveloped roads. Following is the RM of Rosedale September meeting in its entirety.
03 AM with Reed Carlson as chair. Do I have a mover? Earl Burton. Seconder. Sure. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda of September 12, 2024 be approved as presented. Do we have a mover? Tucker. Seconder. Kostenchuk. All in favor? Carried. Be resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting held August 9, 2024 be adopted into the curriculum. Do I have a mover? Are you sure? Seconder? Sure. Sure. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the council agrees to adopt the August 2024 financial statement. Anyway, second, Robert Scott. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that council approves the accounts for the month and the amounts as follow. August 24 general, $260,267.84. Water, $3,206.80. Do I have Scott? seconder. Over. All in favor? Carried.
So just wondering if you guys want to move on, or do you want to get on the Zoom call that's scheduled for 10:15 with Legal Consulting? Just for 5 minutes. We'll see if I can log in to get on the Zoom.
Yeah, my own leader. Nothing's coming.
What's that?
My documents, whatever you call them.
Yeah, mine are very slow
There's a
too.
little blue line moving there now.
It rained, so the internet gets very slow and intermittent after a rain.
One word, Starlink.
I didn't. Mine just says, file not found.
On way to go consulting?
Yeah.
They're just loaded. Took forever. I refreshed once and then it loaded, so.
It was working last time.
This is for water.
Yeah, apparently Carol's up in the reeds.
You just hate people?
No. I'm so tired of that.
Throw me under the bus, I don't care that.
You caught me on a good year.
Good year.
Out in the fall, when my busiest time, yeah. You could probably blame me for anything I just go, yeah.
Sure. Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I do have paper copies if you guys can't get on.
I think I got on.
I'm on.
Yeah, I think
Anyway,
things
means
are
that-
I was getting kicked out of the meeting
It
too.
got slow, but it did go.
Sign over? Work is done. I don't need it. It's working.
Robert doesn't try to get up, put this right here. That's the water t-shirt in the camera. You and Carl. That's the water t-shirt in the Carl. So we got one all to ourselves. That's all my favorites.
So we'll just wait for him to join. It's at 10:15 on the agenda, right?
I'm scared for a while, but now I got it loaded. So.
Crazy you say, it's just this, no requirement.
A little bit.
Thank you.
A little bit.
Yeah, not very. I'm surprised that they want.
That's what I thought.
Is there a recommended thing somewhere?
At the end, I think.
The last page?
It should be the summary. So this is, that was just comparing all of our water rates to everybody else.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah.
And then there should be a summary page that has all of the 20, 25, 26, 27 rate suggestions.
Page.
Here they are. These are the new rates, so that'll be the quarterly charge, and that'll be the per.
So this, oh, that current right there, okay, go on, that ain't bad actually. That ain't there.
The, what's missing in there is asset management, so we haven't allocated a lot of funds to updating the water system. So we will need to get an asset management plan here for both utilities. Well, thank you for joining us. It's nice to meet you. I don't think I've ever seen either one of you face to face before.
Yeah, in person, not so much. So yeah,
Mhm.
nice seeing you in person as well.
So council, I
All
We
of
are,
council too, of course.
yeah, all of
Yeah.
council is here and they're ready to go with whatever you want to begin with.
Awesome. So I'm not sure, I guess, start with introductions. I'm Travis, and this is Dale from Way to Go Consulting. We were brought in to do, a rate adequacy review initially for the Eden and Kelwood utilities. Eden rates were accurate, Kelwood not so much. So we've done a full rate study for the Kelwood utility. And that's what we'll go through here today. So I'm not sure if you have the document, like we'll be going through the executive summary today, kind of the highlights, essentially the Cliff's Notes version of the rate study. So if you have it in front of you all, that's great, or I'm not sure how big the screen I'm on is, I can share my screen too. If that's easier, just whatever works for you.
Everybody has access to the document. I just shared it on
Okay.
the agenda.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll just pull it up here for myself. Okay, so yeah, as I said, we'll be going through the executive summary here today. I'll just start off with a little bit of background of the Kelwood utility. So 86 customers currently. Current rates were approved back by the Public Utilities Board in 2020. Most recent increase was effective in April of 2022. So as part of this rate study, we're proposing rates effective October 1st in each of the years, so 25, 26, and 27. Public Utilities Board, they're running generally anywhere from 10 to 14 months after the rate study is submitted before they actually approve rates. So October 1st of 25 is about a year, give or take. So that's more than likely when those rates will actually get approved. As far as the reason for rate increases, so kind of one way we can look at the reason for increases and break it down in pretty straightforward terms. So just comparing the billing revenues in 2027 to 23. So in 2027, we're forecasting billing revenues of about $61,000, and that's required for the utility to break even. Public Utilities Board requires a 10% what they call a contingency allowance. That's essentially just for unforeseen circumstances, water breaks, that sort of thing. So cover your expenses, have that contingency allowance, and then if there was a reserve transfer built into rates to account for that as well. And in this case, there isn't, as it stands right now. So we're forecasting the utility will need about $61,000 in 27. As of 23, the billing revenues were about $40,000, so an increase of about $21,000, give or take. So then we just break that kind of total amount down into the component parts. So about 8% of that total increase is required for an increase in your general expenses, which is essentially the administration costs that are allocated to the utility. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail further on. The vast majority of the increase, so 5% of the total required increase, is for increases in your water operating expenses. So that consists of, purification and treatment, transmission, distribution, and some other costs as well. And, the vast majority of that increase in your water operating expenses is related to the water treatment plant operator being contracted out. So the 24 budget had some expected increases related to that. So that's kind of where the majority of this rate increase is coming from. And then the final kind of smaller piece here is $1,000 or 5% of the total required increase. That's required to bring the utility from its current operating position to that 10% contingency allowance required by the PUB. So next little section there, proposed utility rates. That's just showing what they are, what they're going up to. So quarterly service charge currently $18.10 per quarter, going up to $23.58. Again, this is set primarily by the administration cost allocation. And then the water rate per cubic meter currently is $2.19, be going up to $3.25. So I'll just kind of quickly break down how that customer service charge is actually calculated. So as I said, this is your general costs, basically your administration cost allocation. So currently it's set as 2% of, let's pull this up here. 2% of CAO and office staff, office, legal, and audit expenses. So we're proposing to bump that up just a little bit to 3%, and that results in the bulk of these general costs here that we need to recover. So that divided by the number of customers, 86 customers, gives us the annual customer service charge of $94.31. Divide that by 4, and we get the proposed customer service charge in the final year of $23.50. So the proposed increases, we're just doing 3 years of increases, equal increases each year, depending on the kind of financial health of the utility. Sometimes we have to front load the increases to avoid an operating deficit in the first year or two. That's not the case for the Kelwood utility, so we can do 3 years of even increases. Works out to about $1.83 increase each year on that quarterly service charge. The water rates, so through water rate, we're recovering the water operating expenses. So your net water costs, we add to that 10% contingency allowance I mentioned earlier. If there was an annual reserve transfer, we would also recover that on the water rate. There currently isn't any. Debt payments, they would reduce the total amount we need to require because that's money collected on property taxes moved into the utility. It's the principal payments essentially are net revenue to the utility. So that would reduce the total amount we need to recover. And then something called capital grant amortization. So similar to how you would recognize the cost of a capital asset over its useful life, if you get grant funding, you would also recognize that grant funding each year over the useful life of that asset. So it serves to offset your amortization or depreciation expense essentially and reduces the total required water rate. So kind of all of that added up together gives us about $60,000 we need to recover on water. Divide that by your water volume sold. I believe we're using third and fourth quarter of 23 and first 2 quarters of 24. And that gives us the proposed water rate, so $3.25. And same as the customer service charge, 3 years, equal increases each year. So going up about 35 cents each year, 36 cents in the final year. Bulk water rate, so this is also Public Utilities Board requirement. They require a portion of your administration costs to be added into your bulk rate, as well as if there was any utility debt. In this case, there isn't. So just some of portion of your general or administration costs is added to your water rate to calculate the bulk rate. So currently, your bottom mellow is showing $3.17 per. It was something else. It worked out to $3.17 per 1,000 gallons. I believe it was a certain amount per 4.5 cubic meters or something to that effect. So we've converted it to per 1,000 gallons, and that works out to $3.17. So first year it'll be going up to $4.25 per 1,000 gallons. 26 it would be $4.75 per 1,000, and 27 going up to $5 per 1,000. Working capital is on the next page there. This is also a Public Utilities Board requirement. It's kind of an indicator of the financial health or financial position of the utility. It's essentially the funds available to the utility for you that can be used for capital projects, funding capital projects, or recovery of deficit, depending. So just as an example, using 2023, the most recent year's audit, this is calculated by taking the fund surplus, so that's all the assets and available to the utility. We reduce it by the tangible capital asset balance, that's money that's been spent to buy assets. If there was any long-term debt, that's money that you have. In this case, there isn't any long-term debt. If there was a utility reserve, in this case there isn't, that's also money available. So as of the 23 audit, utility had a working capital they require equivalent to 20% of your operating expenses. And for the Kelwood utility, because it's fairly small, that actually works out to about $10,000. So you aren't well above the minimum. That being said, with the cost of capital projects these days, $250,000 doesn't actually get you too far. So utility's in good shape, but yeah, depending what council wants to do, or if there are expected capital projects coming up down the road, you could potentially look at building in an annual transfer to utility reserve into the rates. That would set to build your working capital a little bit faster each year. So currently, as things stand, as the proposed rate increases come into effect, working capital is increasing by about $7,000 per year out in 2027. So if you include an annual transfer to utility reserve, that will build up faster. So again, it just depends sort of what capital projects you maybe see coming out from the utility. Accounting for water, this is also a public utility board requirement. So anything over 10%, they'll require an explanation, a plan to address, that sort of thing. So we calculated it for 2023, and it worked out to about 39% unaccounted for water. And that's taking into account estimated volumes for water breaks, line flushing, used for firefighting, that sort of thing. So that's obviously higher than 10%, and a fairly significant amount. We recalculated it based on the third and fourth quarter of 23 and first two quarters in 24, and it works out to about 14%. So unclear what happened in 23, if there was maybe some breaks that weren't noticed or billing errors, the billing volume wasn't fully captured, not too sure, but 24 kind of year to date and the second two quarters in 23 show a significant improvement. So something to be aware of, and it should be monitored going forwards as well. PUB may want more information, they want more of an explanation after the rate study is submitted. We'll kind of see what they say, but depending, kind of on that note, depending what capital projects you maybe want to see happen, or if there's, I believe Melissa mentioned, like you might be going forward with an engineering study or an assessment to kind of get a sense of where the utility system is at. That could kind of inform your capital plan going forward. So, as far as capital projects actually included in the rates currently, looking at the 24 budget, the items on there were holdovers from the previous year budget, and with some staff turnover and stuff, it was unclear if, what those amounts were actually for, if the projects were required, what the projects even were. So we haven't included any capital projects, but again, if there is an engineering assessment done or kind of a more concrete capital plan is developed, then the impact of, the funding and amortization for those capital projects should be examined moving forwards. Inflation, so for 25 to 27 forecasts we've done assume annual inflation of 3%. And as I mentioned before, that cost allocation, so this is the cost allocation for basically office, staff time, audit, all that kind of stuff relating to the utility. So it's currently 2%, proposing it goes up to 3%. If council feels this amount doesn't fully encapsulate, kind of the time and effort the general fund spends on, or office staff spend on utility matters, you could look at increasing this more. This is an area that you have some flexibility in. Operating surpluses and deficits. So there were deficits in 2020 and 2022. Both of those have been approved by the Public Utilities Board, so no actions required there. 10% contingency allowance built into rates. And then the last kind of section here is just showing the actual impact of these increases on your minimum and average quarterly bill. So minimum bill is 14 cubic meters. That would work out to a quarterly bill of 48.76, going up to 69.08 in the final year. And these are the amounts that actually get published by the Public Utilities Board in the customer notice that they draft for you to send out and inform the public of the proposed rate increases. So that's what the public would see. Current rates of 48.76 per quarter, minimum bill going up to 69.08. And then just for your information, the 46 cubic meters, that's the average bill that your customers have. So that average bill, currently quarterly bill of $118.84, going up to $173.08 in the final year. And then the last page here, this is just a comparison of rates kind of across the province that have recently been approved by the Public Utilities Board, kind of in the last few years. So anywhere from 2022 effective date to there's a few 2027s and so on. So you can see the Kelwood utility, and this is again your minimum bill based on 14 cubic meters. Kelwood utility is currently among the lowest kind of rates that have recently been approved. As those rate increases come into effect, you would be moving towards kind of lower middle of the pack, give or take. And again, these are rates, they kind of go up to 22, a lot of them are 23s, 4s, 5s. So as these utilities do their own rate studies, time goes on, inflation goes on, their rates will also increase. So, and that's something that you see like across the province. Rates are just going up, capital projects are more expensive. The after effects of COVID, supply chain issues, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the general overview of the rate study, kind of where the utility is at and where it needs to be. So a lot of numbers, I know, I apologize. But yeah, if there's any questions or comments.
Can I ask some questions?
Yeah.
What is the RM of Hanover doing that we're not doing, that their water is so cheap? And because it's a pretty
RM of
distinct
Hanover.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that area, Steinbach, you'll see too, like Brenthal and Steinbach. My understanding, and we've done rate studies for all of the Hanover utilities, but haven't done Steinbach's as such. But my understanding of the water in that area is that they pretty much put a pipe in the ground, take it out, and don't have to do much of anything for treatment. So much of what we run into with utilities and costs, it's really depends on the capital infrastructure and the for water, just the quality of the water that comes out. Brandon and Portage, for example, pull water out of the Assiniboine River, and treatment costs are horrific. Steinbach, I understand it is a ground source supply they've got, and it's supposed to be pretty clean water. So that's Hanover and Steinbach and kind of that area that are blessed with good water.
And for the unaccounted water, because what are some recommendations to track it, narrow it down?
Yeah, so just kind of comparing, I'd say, the month to month, like what you're actually producing and what you're selling. As I said, like calculating it for 23, the unaccounted for water was kind of getting close to 40%. Second 2 quarters, and so far this year is down to 16. So if you can kind of isolate, is there a specific month that it suddenly jumps up like 20-30%? Is there breaks, that sort of thing? So yeah, just kind of keeping an eye on the data. infrastructure that are kind of aging out and there's constantly breaks in the same area. Maybe, the line should be looked at getting repaired, replaced, that sort of thing, so.
Yeah, the high hardly accounted for water is just, it's such a hard one to, the best you can do is, keep an eye on it, quarterly as billings go out, water produced, and see, and if there is a big jump, then, that's an indication of a break, but if it's high to begin with, run into places, like RM of Rosedale, they had a big jump in their water, unaccounted for water, and they hunted for I think 8 or 9 months to try and find it, figured it was a water break, and then it turned out it was an abandoned house with a water line in it with no meter, and it was just, the water line was just running into the house and then into the sewer. Or, Minnedosa has lots of trouble because it's a valley and kind of lots of shale and rocks, so just it varies from municipality to municipality, and the best you can do is kind of keep an eye if there's a big shift, and if it's high, then get the public works guys to really look around and see if they can't find somewhere that's a wet spot right in the ground that's causing it. But that could be it. We've run across some really weird circumstances for water losses over the years.
One more?
The cost allocations, there's went from 2% to 3%, but you said there's some flexibility there. Do most of the people that you're doing these studies with, do they do shadow billing or class all the expenses in the office, or do most RMs just do a percentage?
Yeah, there's quite a variety. We find a lot of municipalities just do the kind of 7% of either a few kind of cost buckets or percent of general government services. In the end, it's just a lot easier for the office staff to kind of do a percentage-based allocation. You're capturing a percent of, those total costs. Some municipalities track everything kind of individually and do, 5% of this staff, 10% of that staff. There is no kind of set methodology that the PUB requires. It's basically just whatever you think is the most fair way. Obviously, bearing in mind that certain methods take a lot more staff time to actually pull off, just kind of depending how detailed you're getting. So.
Okay, any more questions? Guess not.
No? Well, thank you guys so much for presenting the information today. And
Yeah,
we will carry on, I guess.
sounds great. Okay, yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
So we were supposed to break from the meeting to do that and then come back.
Do it now.
So I guess we should have broke at like 10:20. And then we should return. So Jeff, my intention is Cheyenne sends monthly chlorination records for the water that's treated at the treatment plant. And then we can stopgap it with what we're billing quarterly and do the measure of each. So what did we treat versus what did we bill out? And then quarterly we can go back and say, okay, was there 10 fires? How much water did we use to fill the trucks? Did we flush hydrants? Did we find a break? To try to do some reconciliation on the water loss. That's the intention moving forward.
So better record keeping will get us a better percentage number.
Better
Yes.
percentage.
Because I was thinking that we did have one major fire, which we hooked hydrants to late in Kelly in 23, which Cheyenne might know the gallons used, but I mean, it'd be something to keep track of.
Well, yeah, that's
We're
basically
going
an
forward.
estimate, right? She's just trying to
Have a
estimate.
mover on this break thing. Yeah.
Did the trucks have meters on them, so you know how much water you actually use?
No.
I think the first step is we need to get a meter in the fire hall. for when you guys are actually filling.
Yeah.
And then if there's a water event and we let her know, she takes readings every 24 hours. So you see, holy smokes, this one, because we could go back in the records if we knew what month,
Yes.
we can go back and take a look and see what the difference is in treated versus
Yeah.
for that 24-hour time frame. Because we can see the hydrant flushing on the records when they're occurring, and then I just put a note on the record, hydrant flushing. But the trouble is the readings aren't being taken consistently at the same time every day. So then it could be a 18-hour gap or a 10-hour gap, depending on when she's at the treatment plant doing her testing.
So you kind of
it's
just
hard
smooth
to-
that out over a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a fire event and a flushing event's easy to, not
Yes.
even calculate, we used to know why there was a swell there. And I think Cheyenne had a bunch of water leaks when she first started too, which was, lots of leaks when she first took over, so it's, would have known for
That
that.
we've slowly been
Fixing it,
repairing.
getting it under control. So she knows what to look for now too.
Be it resolved that this regular council meeting reconvenes at 10:46 a.m. Do I have a mover? Sure. Seconder. All in favor? You know, because the truck side of the hall.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to track it, yeah, we better go back in here. Finally back in.
So if there was a water leak, though, somebody used to know.
Probably this
Right.
In the fire hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it comes in, you see the pipe comes out of the floor.
Okay.
So we talked to the truck, here's the name of fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was been.
But there isn't a meter on the building, so it pays them, but there should be a meter to keep track.
just noticed that.
Which should be a cool idea.
Yeah.
And you go 1 inch line? Going in, 1 inch,
2 inch.
2 inch?
Yeah, we're gonna, yeah. Well, I guess we have, no, 2 inches, it feeds the, we feed off that to do the bathrooms.
So because the water rates are changing, we need to update the bylaw, of course, with the new rates. So the bylaw is attached to the meeting. That's the proposed bylaw moving forward. So once we get the bylaw first reading done, then the bylaw will be presented to the public utility boards for review. And that's what Travis was talking about. It's going to take 12 to 14 months
Oh, yeah.
because they will need to approve this. So we will send the resolution and the bylaw and the reports and all of those things into public utility boards for review to come back to us. If there's any amendments or what have you moving forward, then we can do those updates at the second reading. Oh, it's crashing. So the noted changes from I should have put both bylaws. I should have put the previous revision and this revision. So there's some additional municipal law attached at the top of the bylaw. And then, of course, a majority of the bylaw is the same, just the rates are updated. If anybody wants to see the previous revision, I can send that out.
Okay. Whereas the rural municipality of Rosedale has received a rate study for the Calwood water utility that increased rates required to increasing, therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2-2024 to establish Calwood utility rates be given to the first reading and submitted to the Public Utilities Board for approval. Do I have a mover? Robert Scott. Second. All in favor? Carried.
What did that study cost?
With Eden, Kelwood, both the initial adequacy studies and then this study, all in was $6,000.
And does that $6,000 get allocated to the utility bill again?
It should be separated, so then the work that was done for Eden first,
Yeah.
because they did Eden and Kelwood first, they did adequacy. We sent that forward to the Public Utility Board. Public Utility Board came back with a board order for Eden, which is next on the agenda. And then they came back to us for Kelwood to say a flow rate study needed to be done. So a portion of that bill should go to the Eden utility, and then the remaining portion should go to the Kelwood utility. So the board order that came down for Eden was that our utility rates were adequate for Eden when Way to Go did the consulting, but that there's requirements moving forward to get an asset management plan together. And then also to be allocating the 3%, because that wasn't done. We didn't realize that that was a requirement, but we will do that this upcoming year. And then moving forward, of course, we'll do that based on what council thinks. If they think 3% is adequate, 5%, what have you. And then there was one other item. And then we'll have to do adequacy studies before 2020 July. Again, we will probably be engaging Way to Go as well to start that adequacy study January 2025. But we need to get a capital plan together January 2026.
2026.
Yeah, the capital plan needs to get put together before we start going down the path of doing another adequacy study, so we understand what we need to upgrade in the Eden system. And then I've had a few calls, actually, people wondering if we're going to be extending the Eden rural lines at any point in time, if there's a project upcoming or not. Currently, I don't have anything on my to-do list to get that together, but perhaps we should start gathering names of folks that would be wanting to do something like that, because there will be a whole process of engineering studies and cost gathering and such before we can understand what we're going to do there, and we're still paying an adventure for the Eden water utility as well. So I have on my resolution for the Eden public utility that we accept the board order and we're not going to appeal their recommendations, but you guys are free to decide if you want to appeal what they're recommending to us or not.
So are there any questions to appeal the board's decision, or? Sure.
So we're strongly encouraged, work closely with our auditors.
Yes. There were some discrepancies, I think, between the audited documents and the information Way to Go consultants presented to PUB. So PUB is wanting us to work more closely with the accountants to understand where they're allocating the funds. Because it could just be movements. Somebody allocated it in purification and treatment and somebody else put it in administration. So it could be those types of things occurring.
And you've gone through this, like, just for the office admin side
We need to do the journal entries to move the funds over to the utility. We haven't done that yet. We're in the process right now of doing our interim audit with the auditor. So eventually those entries will be done once the interim is complete.
decided we wanted to take our allocation for our CEO and staff for funded 3%, change the whole process now?
No, I think you guys are free to do that whenever you choose. And then that would just, in the next rate study. So they would pull that information in the next rate study then to recommend the rates moving forward. So when we do the rate study in 2026, if the administration costs were higher and the utility was in a deficit, then that would be allocated in that rate study, and then the recommendations would come from those dollar figures.
And if we decided to dramatically change it in 25, we would have to repeal this bylaw and resubmit everything.
Yes. So,
Otherwise, we're locked in on this schedule.
well, we need to keep Kelvin and Eden separate though, right? This is Eden, so Eden's bylaw is not gonna change. We're gonna continue on with the rates with the recommendation that we get a capital plan in place and review the rates in 2026 for submission to the PUB by July 2026. So I'm recommending we start that rate study at least in January 2026 to give us some leeway and some time to do the submissions to PUB. And then once those submissions take place, if they decide a full rate study is required, then we would go down that path of doing a full rate study, and then we'd resubmit to them and so on and so forth. I did attach the process to be followed with the PUB on my CAO report so that everybody understands. There's 11 steps actually to follow between us and them and way to go. So the council does the resolution, we get the information, we submit. There's just a bunch of back and forth on what the process is to follow, and then how the bylaw gets read and how the documents get submitted. So that's at the bottom of the CAO report for you guys to review whenever you like. It's quite a lengthy process, and then of course it takes PUB a year to approve the rates. So we're always a year behind with the rate implementation.
Any questions, discussion? Whereas the Public Utility Board Order Number 101/24 was received in relation to the Eden water utility, therefore be it resolved that council received the order as information and will not proceed with an appeal. Do I have a mover? Seconder, Robert Scott. All in favor? Carried. Next one is Kelwood.
Oh, Riding Mountain actually.
Oh, Riding Mountain.
Yeah, Riding Mountain Community Hall.
Right. Riding Mountain Community Hall. Looking for funding, I guess.
Yeah, they did. They had a fundraiser last weekend. They had a ball tournament and beer gardens and such. And they are just looking for any amount to help with their fundraising.
You guys got it back to the fact that we need to help her. They got a new committee there too, right, trying to,
Yeah, she didn't submit earlier.
no, that's,
But I think they're trying to fundraise for the hall regardless.
So that they had a very good turnout this weekend, I guess, for that. Everybody had a ball, no pun intended.
that's how I felt. I heard that too also.
Yeah.
But it's nice to help because they'd asked us sooner to do something
Yeah.
for the process.
Yeah.
How does $500?
6.
600.
Okay,
Okay. I like the way you do that.
Sorry.
That's good though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I like that, I guess.
$600.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying, that's big.
Exactly. What you mean?
Whereas correspondence has been received to support the Rye Mountain Community Hall fundraiser, therefore be it resolved that council agrees to provide a donation of $600. Should have gone here from BLT or
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
do I have a mover? All in favor? Carried. Next is
The Legion.
That I didn't get to read last night. I just read.
So the Legion, the previous board resigned and there's a new board, so they sent us their new list of contacts. And then they're asking for some funding to assist. They have shared with us that they have enough funds for their liabilities, which I'm assuming is heat, hydro, and water and those types of things. But I think they're looking for some funds startup wise. And basically everything is being run volunteer because they don't have the funds to pay an employee.
Yeah, as of 3 weeks ago, there's a brand new executive. The old one walked away, which is maybe a blessing. And now this new one is in an attempt to restart the business with, they're trying to go through the books to find out where things are at, and they're trying to restock. Some volunteers from Kelwood are actually helping stock the shelves, and they're just looking for some help. And we had a discussion previous about the Legion, and this is the time I'd like to see us step up and help.
So I think they're 3 years away from their 100th celebration
Yeah. 3 years.
as well.
Yeah, it's not moving here, I can't see.
You want to read?
It's getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 years, yeah.
Is the Legion building one of the ones that the RM owns?
No.
No, belongs to, it actually belongs to command, which is federal, I think.
Yeah.
And with the way Ron does math, I asked Melissa when I got here how much money I had left in my balance of my own BLT fund, which I was gonna put the balance of it towards it to help them. But we weren't able to find that number yet. So with Ron's math, I would like to do 1,000 apiece. If you guys would be willing.
I know we always stepped up to the plate for the Legion in the fall, for the Kelwood.
So we did pull the GL for donations for 2024, and it's sitting around $9,000 this year. It appears that operating fund money was being transferred to the VLT because I don't have any specific grant labeled VLT to us, so I'm not sure where those funds were coming from previously. If they're just being transferred over from VLT. But moving forward in the budget, we should decide how many or how much we're going to be providing in grants or donations or contributions to folks.
So you're thinking 6 in total?
Yeah, if that's acceptable. I don't know what I could, like most of us, as you just heard, that we don't have a balance, but I just put my own and then ask you guys to help out whatever you guys wanted. But if it's too much, it's too much, but this number, it's Ron's math.
I think that's about what we did before in the fall.
Okay. Because we haven't done anything serious for a couple of years because of management previous.
Exactly.
Now with new management and they're, like I say, they're all volunteer to help, and
Yeah.
even the secretary treasurer was a paid position, now she's doing it for nothing, and staffing, like the bartending, if that's the right word to use, has all been volunteer so far. They've only been open 3 days under the new management, so they're still working on bank accounts and BLTs and all that kind of jazz that they have to run in there, so.
So we're in the process of doing a bit of an audit.
Yeah, and they'll be doing like their new secretary treasurer is a staff by a major lending agency, so she'll have their numbers figured out, and all local kids actually, not born and raised in Kelwood, but skin in the game, I guess is the terminology.
And there's really not any other place in Kelwood to go to, right?
No.
They don't have a meeting place.
No, it's our central hub actually. We have some of our meetings that we have in towns, they are done at the fire hall because it's a public building and it's maybe do it, which is not a big deal, but I mean, they should be meeting here. Even as the LED committee or the town committee or the ball committees, all that stuff should be meeting in this, but they haven't been lately, so we're trying to establish that. Well, we've had gatherings there ourselves after the fact, so it's a good public place.
That sounds friggin'.
And it's,
That's the daily.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I sent Andrew, Allison to go help Catherine, because I could hear some,
elevation.
yeah, some things that getting elevated out there, so.
So, just to be the negative part on this one, what kind of accountability is there going to be for that significant of a donation? Like, is it just confidence in the new board?
And yeah, my personal confidence, you guys will grow the confidence in the new board, but my personal confidence in who's running that now is like through the roof. I think so yes, that's.
Would it be overstepping to ask them to provide some sort of financial information on what they purchased utilizing the funds?
I think the list of names you got on there, any one of them will be glad to communicate with anyone here. Honestly, it'll be wide open. There'll be
No hidden agendas.
no hidden agenda. And then I would assume we'll go back to getting a yearly audit and monthly books, and there'll be monthly meetings that are recorded and ins and outs recorded as it was previous. I mean, I guess if that's reassuring, that's what it's supposed to be, because it's this group of folks that are taking over are keen and, like I say, all that community minded.
That's the only watering hole in Rosedale.
Technically, yes. And the only Legion in a long ways that's operational.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. We have what we call Legion Hall in Riding Mountain, but it's a hall, like the hall, it's
Community halls.
community hall. It's not an active Legion anymore.
Okay.
I think the closest one is, well, there's one here in Neepawa, there's one in McCurry, and ours in Kelwood, I consider. But it's the only one in Rosedale is suggested.
I feel we should give them something, for sure.
Well, I go along with what you're suggesting. Because I think that's what we did before.
Okay, well,
Yeah, that would be-
they would be very appreciative.
Well, Ron,
Yeah.
I can remember,
Yeah.
is that not
Yeah.
about the thing we did before?
Yeah, we did before, yeah.
Yeah,
In the past, yeah.
from our VLTs.
Yeah.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, committee, thanks you all.
So that'll be 6,000. Should I do that?
You guys are in charge, I don't know what to do.
That's the only you guys say. What do you have a question you want to ask me directly? Or indirectly? No, I just wondered.
And we would go down that path of doing a full rate study, and then we'd resubmit to them and so on and so forth. I did attach the process to be followed with the PUB on my CAO report so that everybody understands. There's 11 steps actually to follow between us and them, and way to go. So the council does the resolution, we get the information, we submit. There's just a bunch of back and forth on what the process is to follow, and then how the bylaw gets read and how the documents get submitted. So that's at the bottom of the CAO report for you guys to review whenever you like. It's quite a lengthy process, and then of course it takes PUB a year to approve the rates. So we're always a year behind with the rate implementation.
Any questions, discussion? Whereas the Public Utility Board Order Number 101/24 was received in relation to the Eden water utility, therefore be it resolved that council received the order as information and will not proceed with an appeal. Do I have a mover? Seconder? Robert Scott. All in favor? Carried. Next one is Kelwood.
Oh, Riding Mountain, actually.
Oh, right, Mountain.
Yeah, Riding Mountain Community Hall.
That one is Ray Mountain, Community Hall. Looking for funding, I guess.
They did, they had a fundraiser last weekend. They had a ball tournament and beer gardens and such. And they are just looking for any amount to help with their fundraising.
I guess kind of after the fact, we're good to help her. They got a new committee there too, right? Trying to,
Yeah, she didn't submit early enough.
no, that's,
But I think they're trying to fundraise for the hall regardless.
Saw that they had a very good turnout this weekend, I guess, for that. Everybody had a ball, no pun intended.
I saw it. I heard that too also,
Yeah.
but it's nice to help because they asked us sooner to do something
Yeah.
for the process.
Yeah.
How does $500?
6.
600.
One,
Okay.
two, three.
I like that. That's good though.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like that, I guess.
$600.
Yeah. Well,
Well, they're trying, that's being.
exactly. What you mean?
Whereas correspondence has been received to support the Ray Mountain Community Hall fundraiser. Therefore, be it resolved that council agrees to provide a donation of $600. Should have gone here from BLT or
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
do I have a mover? All in favor? Carried. Next is
The Legion.
That I didn't get to read last night. 'Cause I just beat.
So the Legion, the previous board resigned and there's a new board, so they sent us their new list of contacts. And then they're asking for some funding to assist. They have shared with us that they have enough funds for their liabilities, which I'm assuming is heat, hydro, and water and those types of things. But I think they're looking for some funds startup wise. And basically everything is being run volunteer because they don't have the funds to pay an employee.
Yeah, as of a couple of 3 weeks ago, there's a brand new executive. The old one walked away, which is maybe a blessing. And now this new one is in an attempt to restart the business with, I mean, they're trying to go through the books to find out where things are at, and they're trying to restock. Some volunteers from Kelwood are actually helping stock the shelves, and they're just looking for some help. And I mean, we had a discussion previous about the Legion, and this is the time I'd like to see us step up and help.
So I think they're 3 years away from their 100th celebration
Yeah. 3.
as well.
Yeah, it's not over here, I can't see.
You want to read?
It's getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 years, yeah.
Is the Legion building one of the ones that the RM owns?
No.
No, belongs to, well, actually belongs to command, which is federal, I think.
Yeah.
And with the way Ron does math, I asked Melissa when I got here how much money I had left in my balance of my own BLT fund, which I was gonna put the balance of it towards them to help them. But we weren't able to find that number yet. So with Ron's math, I would like to do 1,000 apiece. If you guys would be willing.
I know we always stepped up to the plate for the Legion in the fall, for the Kelwood Legion.
So we did pull the GL for donations for 2024, and it's sitting around $9,000 this year. it appears that operating fund money was being transferred to the VLT because I don't have any specific grant labeled VLT to us, so I'm not sure where those funds were coming from previously, if they're just being transferred over from VLT. But moving forward in the budget, we should decide how many or how much we're going to be providing in grants or donations or contributions to folks.
So you're thinking 6 in total?
Yeah, if that's acceptable. I don't know what they could, like most of us, as you just heard, that we don't have a balance, but I just put my own and then ask you guys to help out whatever you guys wanted. But I mean, if it's too much, it's too much, but I mean, this number, it's we're on the back.
I think that's about what we did before in the fall.
Okay. Because we haven't done anything serious for a couple of years because of management previous.
Exactly.
Now with new management and they're, like I said, they're all volunteer to help, and even the secretary treasurer was a paid position, now she's doing it for nothing, and staffing, like the bartending, if that's the right word to use, has all been volunteer so far. They've only been open 3 days under the new management, so they're still working on bank accounts and BLTs and all that kind of jazz that have to run in there.
So we're in the process of doing a bit of an audit.
Yeah, and they'll be doing like their new secretary treasurer is a staff by a major lending agency, so she'll have their numbers figured out, and all local kids actually, not born and raised in Kelwood, but skin in the game, I guess is the terminology.
And there's really not any other place in Kelwood to go to, right?
No.
They don't have a meeting place.
No, it's our central hub actually. We have some of our meetings that we have in towns there, not at the fire hall because it's a public building and it's, I mean, we do it, which is not a big deal, but I mean, we should be meeting here. Even as the LED committee or the town committee or the ball committees, all that stuff should be meeting in this, but they haven't been lately, so we're trying to establish that. Well, we've had gatherings there ourselves after the fact, so it's a good public place.
That sounds friggin'
And it's,
That's the daily,
Really?
yeah, that's why I sent Andrew, Allison to go help Catherine, because I could hear some,
elevation.
yeah, some things that getting elevated out there, so.
So, just to be the negative part on this one, what kind of accountability is there going to be for that significant of a donation? Like, is it just confidence in the new board?
And yeah, my personal confidence, you guys will grow the confidence in the new board, but my personal confidence in who's running that now is like through the roof. I think it's, so yes, that's.
Would it be overstepping to ask them to provide some sort of financial information on what they purchased utilizing the funds?
I think the list of names you got on there, any one of them will be glad to communicate with anyone here. Honestly, it'll be wide open. There'll be
No hidden agendas.
no hidden agenda, and then I would assume we'll go back to getting a yearly audit and monthly books, and there'll be monthly meetings that are recorded and ins and outs recorded as it was previous. I mean, so I guess if that's reassuring, that's what it's supposed to be, because it's this group of folks that are taking over are keen and, like I say, they all got community minded.
That's the only watering hole in Rosedale.
Technically, yes, and the only Legion in a long ways that's operational.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we have what we call Legion Hall in Ryan Mountain, but it's a hall, like the hall, we're just.
Community halls.
Community hall, it's not an active Legion anymore.
Okay.
I think the closest one is, well, there's one here in Neepawa, there's one in McCurry, and ours in Kelwood, but it's the only one in Rosedale is suggested.
I feel we should give them something, for sure.
I go along with what you're suggesting. Because I think that's what we did before.
Okay, they would be very appreciative.
Well, Ron,
Yeah.
I can remember,
Yeah.
is that not
Yeah.
about the thing we did
Yeah,
before?
we did before, yeah.
Yeah,
In the past,
from our VLTs.
yeah.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, committee, thanks you all.
So that'd be 6,000. Can I do that?
You guys are in charge, I don't know what to do.
Bill, you need to ask this thing. What do you have a question you want to ask me directly? Or indirectly? No.
I just wondered, what is the 16 hours going to cost $1,100?
No, different lots, so lot B, there's each one of those.
$1,100 worth of cutting and tell with August.
Yes, because he does those lots, and that was his quoted dollar amount to do that lot. And he does those lots under the LEDs, ask, I guess, if that's what it's
Okay.
And then some of these folks are getting invoiced as well.
Oh, good.
We're invoicing them
Yeah.
back. So if it's a private property lot, they'll get
I know
invoiced
that
that
down,
amount.
that these things.
Yeah, because I forgot that some of those are actually a tax sale or tax Rosedale lots, or not non-Rosedale lots.
If you have additional folks on the property as well, you need to send them out to everybody. So these guys are good. So 2 letters.
Oh, I see, right, I see. Yeah, that's a big check.
Because they're direct letters, so I have to let everybody know. No?
That's actually
Yeah.
cheap.
Very good.
We just.
Inexpensive compared to.
You're looking at that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, big shed.
I don't see it.
But the $400 out of it, way more reasonable than 8%.
Even the 400, I thought would be 430.
800, yeah.
So it's very, very cheap.
But and then you can look at it in terms of
Did you write that something?
if you are a foot culvert erosion or for them, I got $400 back. That's a long time to recover the cost on
Yeah.
improvements, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it takes care of it.
I was looking at Spring Hills there. That little electrical building,
They
is it?
went down.
It's not very big.
No.
$227 an attic. So they're about $67,000. That's,
West, they are right there, so I can't. Was that like a recent year ahead of perhaps somebody showed the same numbers?
it's 390 feet, 120 feet wide.
Well, any more questions on this?
Scary, but that's what it is.
Whereas we've considered the 2024 listing of taxes to be added percent to section 300 bracket 6 and 326 of the Municipal Act for discussion and reduction,
Oh, reductions, yeah. So we're
Reductions.
gonna add them or reduce them from their.
add them or, yeah, to the 2024 tax rolls of the municipal as provided by the assessment branch. Therefore, be it resolved, supplemental taxes be proposed in respect of each property listed on the list of the additional or taxes canceled if the list indicates a reduced as may be in the case. Furthermore, be it resolved that notification be mailed to each of the property owners listed. Do you have a mover? Second.
Sure.
All in favor? All commenced.
Did you submit any presentation ideas? I was all excited and then I saw that the Kate had already passed.
Oh. They just opened registration on the 10th of September, so I am presenting to all of you. If you guys want to go, let me know. If you don't, that's good too. It's in Winnipeg this year. And I, on your approval, would suggest renting rooms only the 25th and the 26th. So that would require us to drive in on the Monday morning, not staying over Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Because I'm frugal with the budget.
I wonder if it's a good year to skip them.
I'm not going to the ships.
Because the budget is bad. You know what, I'm thinking it's about a $10,000 touch to our budget to do a 10. Okay, I was trying to be conservative.
Likely 20, yeah.
I was thinking of looking at that, and looking at Brandon, and maybe we should be making a choice. You go to one or the other.
Yeah.
It gets very expensive now. Hotels and,
And for all we're getting, you're gaining back out of it.
Yeah.
For the money we're spending, and I guess it looks good to our ratepayers that we're trying to calm things down a little bit too, to help out with the deficit side of it. So
I
we're
think-
being,
Yeah, registration's $450 a piece, I know.
we're trying
That's
to,
getting pretty,
It's getting ridiculous.
pretty stiff.
When you get technically a day and a half of stuff, I mean, I haven't been here a long time, but it's getting worse since I got here.
Well, absolutely.
What we were given, I mean, some of you guys have been here long, used to get more, 3 days, 4 days stuff, and you got lots of jammed in, but now we're getting a day and a half. What do you get in a day and a half?
Yeah.
But I mean, this year, I like going, I enjoy the process, but I mean, for this year's budget, I think I would skip it, but that's my thoughts.
Maybe we take the initiative and do this, maybe other municipalities will
Yeah.
do back off a bit, because it's gotta be looking expensive for their ratepayers too.
So vote no,
yeah, no.
Carl's a no. I just have my little spreadsheet here, so I know.
Shoot, well, I think we're playing X and O's, that was my
No.
turn.
This is the only way I can stay organized. So there's a registration fee of $450, then there's a gala, then you can go to an ice breaking event, which your registration fee covers council and whoever pays to go to the ice breaking event, but then you would have to buy a guest pass if you wanted to take somebody with you. And then I just need to know who wants to go and then what hotel rooms, what nights you guys want to stay if you are wanting to go.
Dave will be a no.
Myself, no.
Same with me.
What about Ernie and Jeff? Ernie and Jeff are a no as well?
I'll be in Winnipeg that weekend, and I wanna go stay there.
Like, do you want to live there?
No, I don't wanna go there the weekend, but
And my thinking on it is that there doesn't seem to be enough content
No.
for the time.
And it's
Expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
that's what I was telling one of the guys there from AM. He said back when we used to come, when I first started council, you had breakouts and lots of,
Oh, lots of them,
there was
exactly.
tons of them you could go to. Remember,
Oh, yeah.
we were going to another one, then you just roll out of one or run to the next one. Now
It's not like
it's,
that now.
you get 4.
Yeah, very few.
This one, and none of them will pertain to you. Well, then you're basically,
Because they're all at the same time.
yeah, they're all at the same time. So you wanna do 2, well, you can't.
Can't do it.
Silly thing.
See, before it was, we had lots, the convention center, remember, there was like 20 rooms were being used.
Even in Brandon,
Yeah.
I was only a couple times in number of years. There's less.
Can I say something?
Less expenses.
That's why I don't register to go that
Can I-
bad.
I'm
just
sorry.
go over to the
I just think that probably
Look at the
the trade show
equipment, talk
for
to
the
the guys.
public works
I don't need
foreman,
their
one of the
writing
weekends,
sheet.
No.
is probably
How much is
a
it?
better
$20
investment.
to register for it?
And just,
Yeah.
if they could take
She's
the
on
time to
$450
drive in for one day and do the trade show, they won't.
That would be,
There's no one-day registration.
no.
Well,
But for the trade show though, can they not just go with it?
I don't think so.
I think they did in Brandon, the guys could come to the trade show.
I'll
So
look
maybe
it up,
that's
but-
something we should look at maybe next year when it
Yeah,
comes back to Brandon, let the.
That's what a lot of the RMs are doing, close water, just bringing their guys in.
Yeah, because Brandon's
Brandon's close.
close, you got it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good idea.
2.5 hours.
It's a good idea, though.
All run that.
Well,
Yeah,
in
that's a good idea,
Brandon,
Jeff.
they allow one-day registrations. This one does not allow one-day
Yeah,
registration.
but not for the trade show. Like,
I'll look into it.
yeah, look into it, but I'm just,
assuming-
we should
They
send the
don't
guys
register.
to Brandon, you know,
Yeah,
It's a good
to go
idea.
see the stuff that's there and what's going on.
Keeps them current.
The Association of the Manitoba Municipality will hold their annual fall convention November 25th to 27th, 2024.
decline attendance.
Decline attendance, therefore be resolved regarding attendance. Everything's all screwed up here.
I didn't do it, Carl.
Well,
I suspect that.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Carried.
It's too far to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially with no jacket.
We'll just run with that, no pun intended here.
It was crazy.
Stuart Calwood.
Deficit recovery.
Don't be jumping over
Don't be
that,
jumping
Carl.
there.
Stay in
Deficit
task, man.
recovery.
So is there supposed to be a PDF for deficit recovery or is it?
No.
Oh, deficit.
I
Oh,
couldn't
sorry.
attach the financial statements, so the accountant had presented the financial statements to all of council back in June meeting, I believe. And the information that she had shared with us was that we had a very substantial deficit in 2023 of over $278,000. So when there's a deficit noted in the municipal budget, we will need to apply to the minister for approval on how we are going to recover that deficit from the 2023 year. So I am suggesting that we don't try to recover $278,000 in 1 year, because that would mean an increased mill rate of close to 2.5 mil. I'm suggesting to council that we either choose to request the minister to allow us to recover it over 2 years, so 2026 and 2027, or request to recover it over 3 years.
I would prefer the 2 years. It's,
You won't.
no,
No, 2 years.
2 years would work, I think, and it's more reasonable mill rate at that point in time, is my suggestion. So,
Cost of living, what the mill rate's gonna be, it's gonna be. Every year goes up.
yeah.
What's the 2024 deficit gonna look like?
Please don't say that. Please say we're not gonna have a deficit.
You're gonna stay on track.
We're gonna stay on track. We're not gonna get off track this year.
You do know I sit right beside you.
Between you.
Between me and Earl, we get batted a lot.
So stop it, Jeff.
Okay. Any more discussion on this? Whereas under the municipal act, council must obtain a written approval of the minister for all actual defects in the general operation fund. And whereas the rural municipality of Rosedale has shown a general operating fund deficit in the amount of $278,130 for the year 2023, and whereas there was I don't know.
And whereas
I
the
lost-
rationale for
rationale for
deficit,
deficit is common.
a combination of over expenditure due to costs incurred for capital assets. So we're in a deficit because of the grader purchase. We thought we purchased 2 graders, one for 110 and one for 660. Then we sold the grader back in the next year. So we only had allocated, I think, 410,000 for the purchase of that grader. So the difference is close to 300,000 just for the grader purchase alone.
And whereas the municipality must provide the minister with a plan to how the municipality plans to recover the deficit amount, therefore be it resolved that council of the municipality of Rosedale requests the minister consider a deficit recovery by taxation over 2 years, 2025 and 2026 tax years. Do I have a mover? Jeff Henderson. Seconder? Sure. Earl Burton. All in favor? Carried.
All right. So we have a derelict property in Elwood. And we have some new ratepayers that have just joined the area that have purchased the property next door to this property and have called to ask if the RM would demolish this property. There is still hydro hooked to the house, so what I'm asking for is for some time to investigate the costs associated with demolishing this. I don't know if hydro's gonna charge us anything to disconnect or what have you, or maybe like a plan of attack. I think we can knock it down ourselves, like Public Works team could knock it down, and then perhaps the fire department would be wanting to do a controlled burn to get rid of the debris, if that would be permitted.
The house is very close to the adjacent property. You've got about, you're turning away from the next property, so you have to carefully pull that house over and move it someplace into the middle. We'll have to dispose of it if it's going to be fire or trucked out, one or the other.
I think
There is a,
truck out safer, and no, that's not a knock to the Kettle Fire guys, because it's,
Yeah.
one else would be liable for the house besides. And then
Yeah,
if you move it over to burn it, then you create another nail pile, so.
yeah, exactly.
Demolish and haul away is
there's a
the
basement there too.
cheapest bet.
So what you have to deal with there is,
We do.
The RM. And is it, like if it's hooked up to services? So, like this is my own bias coming in, is like, I would rather fix it and have it as a home
I know.
than have it as a
It's not,
expense.
it's not recoverable.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, but that's fine. But also, if it's ours, there's two things that I want to talk about. One is for workplace health and safety, like if you just burn it, like it'll be an issue, but also if you knock it down without dust control and all that kind of stuff, and making sure that there's nothing in there that's hazardous. So you sometimes get into expenses. So
Yes.
ones that I've seen have cost approximately $30,000 to tear down on a $1 house. And that would be a very expensive thing, especially if you could tender that thing out and say free to a good home and have somebody else move it off and rehabilitate the site. And somebody else can take it on as a shack.
I am suggesting that council allow me some time to investigate the costs associated to demolish the house. And then at that point, we can include it in 2025 budget. Because I don't, as per Jeff's point, I don't know what surprises possibly there could be without looking into it a little bit further to understand.
I think getting an estimate or guessing on demolition is good. There is also a couple of buildings there along with the two Melissa's, so that, and they have lots of debris in them, of various types, I want to call it. Every you name it, it's all in there.
So that's like an old garage or something?
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, here's the,
Yeah.
yeah, it's besides the, years and years and years go on to Larry McCutcheon. He left this for years.
So it's just been sitting empty?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so investigate the costs associated to demolishing the house, or should we put, or some other path forward?
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause
Depending on, like, we might want to tender it, we might want to
That's
do
the middle,
whatever
okay.
in 2025
Get,
to demolish the
get
house.
prices on getting it smashed and hauled.
Also, that's the safest way and
Investigate other
also
options.
to,
Yeah, I wouldn't like it. leave it there
and
in town.
also probably fill the
Yeah,
hole.
landscape.
Yeah, the landscape that, once the basement's taken out.
Yeah.
Because it'll just be a hole, like it's a crawl space hole, I would suspect.
No, I think it's
It's
a
like
little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go down there, trust me.
chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have, the resolution is saying that council requested the CAO investigate the costs associated to demolishing the house or investigate other options.
Yeah, that's good, that's because we're not gonna do that till next year, right?
No,
It
which
ain't
is
far
not
away.
budgeted.
It ain't far away.
But then at least we have the opportunity to, we have some time to figure out what the options are, investigate the cost, and dump it into the 2025 budget.
Yeah.
Or
Agreed.
put the property up for sale if somebody wants to.
Whereas a verbal correspondence was received to request a derelict house located on 41 Nealon Street, roll number 48100, be demolished. Therefore, be it resolved that council requests the CEO to investigate the costs associated to demolishing the house or to investigate other options.
Before you do that, that says 41 Neal Street, this says 41 Stewart.
Oh,
It's Neil Street.
it's Neil.
It's
Okay,
Neil.
no, that's fine, as long as
Neil?
Carl's right. It's no, it is Neal, because Stewart's the main dragway.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
It is Neil.
I have no idea.
That's okay.
Well, I know where Calvin is.
That's what we're
I'll move it.
Yeah.
Terry moved, Heard and second.
So it just means I was paying attention.
All in favor?
Carried. Yeah, I never even.
That's all right, because it says say Stewart here, and I should have picked up on that myself.
Yeah, the neighbors purchased 35 Neil.
Yes.
There is from interest from the.
Okay, call
line
that.
was that if it was rent, we did our part, they would be maybe interested in purchasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's right.
Next, culvert install.
Okay, So the way that I have organized the information associated with culvert installs is 4 items or 3 items. First, whoever provides the request to us, so we can approve the actual work. We can approve if we're gonna provide the materials. We can approve if we're gonna invoice. So I'm setting it up depending on what council chooses to approve the request to actually perform the work as one item. And then the other items would be secondary. Because in previous resolutions, it was unclear if council had approved the ratepayer to actually proceed with doing the work or not, based on how the resolution was written. So I think requests are coming in for approaches or what have you to be built. If council is in agreement that that approach can be built, regardless of who does it or what materials are provided, I think that's one component of the ratepayer's requests. And then there's other components of the requests further down. If we're gonna do the work, if we're not gonna do the work, if we're gonna give them the So I'm wanting all of those items to be clearly identified in each one of the proposals. And then moving forward, the process I would like to set up for these types of requests are they would come in, they would be brought to council until we can get some sort of policy or procedure or something in place. And then council would choose what actions were gonna take place moving forward.
Can we go through that draft policy I sent out there?
We can. It's not on the agenda.
I
so-
thought it was on the first draft, so,
And I think it's a good idea, Jeff, but I think a lot of these requests have been ongoing. It'd be nice to clear them off the Public Works Department or requests or council members or to the ratepayers. Doing the policy may take a bit more time. Is that a fair assumption?
and the only reason I was suggesting that we look at that policy is because if we have 2 real-world applications, we can see where all the flaws are in what I wrote.
Okay.
Based on what's actually happening in the world.
Does everybody have that? Because I didn't have this until this morning, so there was no way for me to include it. So I'm not sure if everybody has access to their emails here.
I can go and photocopy them.
Or do we want to just move on in the agenda and then we can go for lunch? We can skip all the culvert requests, move on or go for lunch right now. You want to go for lunch right now?
What kind of a question was that?
Okay.
Do you guys want to go for lunch or yes?
Or me.
What else have we got? We got to go further down the line.
The tenders.
Okay.
Well, if we go for lunch now, we're back at 1:45 anyway,
Well,
so
sure.
we're not going to lose any time.
Sure.
Yeah. Keep going. And then you guys beat everybody to
How many
the
pages is
restaurant.
that policy?
It's a few.
Quite a few.
8, maybe? 8.
And you don't have to do those last couple of pages if you don't want to. I just put them in there as samples.
There's a few.
So during lunch, instead of Jeff getting to eat, he'll read that through. So
We're reading without paying attention.
Yeah, we can give copies to everybody so that everybody has an opportunity to review. And then I also, there was, just to give everybody an update on the approach in Franklin that was requested. A ratepayer had requested an approach be built to his properties that he had purchased. We sent the guys out there and some counselors joined them as well, I believe. And the property is actually on a provincial road. So the responsibility to build the approach to the property is not the RM's, it's the province's. So I did go on the provincial website and the province has a permitting process that they implement with a fee, of course, associated. So the ratepayer will have to fill out a permit, pay the fee, submit it to the province, and then the ratepayer will be responsible for all the charges associated with putting that approach in. That's the policy that the province follows for these types of requests. So you can do anything, Carl. I'm sorry for dragging things on.
2 more minutes on lunch break.
That we now adjourn this regular meeting at 11:45. to break for lunch. Do I have a mover?
Surely.
Scott. Earl Burton. All in favor? Carried.
Was to it because it was a gift, it was a grant. And he says, sure, it's a grant, he says, but it's going to be there for hundreds of years, and the town of the Paw has to repair it, maintain it, fix it, replace it, buy a new flag every year. He says, that grant is simply a cost to the town. He says, so I'm not opposed to like national pride or civic pride, he said, but we're looking at $500 to $1,000 a year forever because we got a grant. So he says, so grants aren't free. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was because of this region. So this area here, so that's the earth. We're so used to looking at it on the Mercator projection, but those are the 6 breadbaskets of the world. So it's Southeast Asia, China, Brazil, Central Russia, like that black soil area of Central Russia, Ukraine, the San Joaquin Valley, and the Canadian prairies. So we're one of the major breadbaskets in the world. This area is singularly important for the planet forever, which means we have a duty of care to like multiple generations that we have. Everything we do, we're looking for multiple generations forward. In 1970s, Exxon, the oil company down in the States, did all that research and they realized that with climate change, weather patterns were going to change. So they did all that research back in the 70s and said, in North America, springs are going to get wetter. Weather patterns are going to get more extreme. We're going to have much more, we might have the same amount of rain, but it'll be more intensely, and we have to manage for it. And then Imperial Oil in Canada in the 80s recreated that same research on the Canadian standpoint, and they funded a bunch of scholarships at the University of Calgary. And it was all about, look, what are we going to do in terms of our oil operations to manage for the changing weather that comes from the changing climate? And they said, they came to the same conclusion. Significantly more intense rain, periods of flood, periods of drought, wham, and then nothing. And they said, so they had to manage around that. Brian Mulroney took all that information in 1991 and put it into Canada's Green Plan. And on the one section of the Canadian prairies in Canada, in the 1991, so going back like 35 years, it said the Canadian prairies aren't going to be affected by climate change very much, except weather patterns will change and we will get more intense rains, spring floods, wetter seasons, followed by droughts. And so we have to adapt and mitigate and change to account for those things. Go forward 10 years ago, and then you have places like Agriculture Canada, and they're saying things like, for high latitude countries like Canada, future warming is expected to be more pronounced than the global average. But when you go through all the research that's going on right now, this swath of land in here, this is the low latitude countries, they're going to be significantly affected. Their productivity, agricultural productivity, is supposed to be going down. And in the high latitude areas, which is us, our agricultural productivity is supposed to be going up. So most of the research is coming out of the University of Saskatchewan, and also things like articles that are posted in the Western Producer, Natural Resources Canada, Manitoba Agriculture, Manitoba Climate Change. It's all, we have to mitigate and adapt because we're becoming more important. There's about 1 billion hectares of productive arable land in the low latitude countries right now, and about 300 million productive hectares in the high latitudes, like the Canadian prairies. So there's 3 times as much arable land in the low latitudes, and they will be negatively impacted over the next several hundred years. And then there's a third of the arable land that has to make up for that. The increasing pressure that gets added onto that is, there we go. This scary chart about population demographics, which shows that by 2080, we're going to be about 10.2 billion people. So when Canada was formed, there was what? At most, let's just say it's 1 billion people. Now we're going to have 10 billion. As recently as 50 years ago, there was 5 million, so we're talking about doubling. It's going to take us about 500 more years to get back down to 5 billion, which means that the Canadian prairies and the black soil Central Russia, Ukraine area have to feed most of the world. Which means, again, read an article in the Western Producer, read Canada's climate change plans, read Manitoba's thing, or you can go to, like, Carl and I went to that one seminar last year, and it was our climate risk assessment workbook that they made us fill out. It's basically, everybody is parroting the same things. There has been no differentiation, there's no daylight between anybody. It's prepare for more rains, more intense, more intense, more intense. So then you get into us making a decision about putting in a culvert in an approach. So our breadbasket is important for the world. Populations are going up. We're going to have more population coming in here because people have to migrate. You have to go somewhere. Western Manitoba's population is just organically increasing. We've got immigration. You've got people getting squeezed out of the southern. So, and we've got 5,000 years to plan for. Add into things like that, you've got this. So you have the Manitoba assessment plan that's online. So Dave and I went out. So you've got roll pressures, and then you have things like Dave and I sitting in Franklin going, where the heck is this approach going to be built? And this is what Google Earth looks like. When I look at Franklin, and I put crosshatches on it.
Or on my, I don't
And
know
that
where
tree
it
is
is.
important.
Thank you.
Because the map from Manitoba Assessment Online has the streets labeled wrong, and it also has stuff marked in there that doesn't match the real world. So I did the overlay. I overlaid that map and made it transparent because I was trying to figure out where the heck I was. And the important thing is this tree that's right there is that tree right there, which means that this local agricultural producer is farming several lots that the RM owns, and he's also farming a large section of Kerr Street, which is not a problem because nobody lives there. But it makes it hard to find things. And because nothing is marked properly, we are getting into this thing where we're getting entrenched stuff because we don't have proper surveys. Some random individual who I'm not critiquing wants to put an approach in, but Google Earth says one thing, Manitoba Assessment Online says another. This says another thing completely, because in the real world we have elevator road south, elevator road north, but those aren't actually marked on the actual plan. Second isn't marked properly. This is farmed over and doesn't exist. These are all slightly off. This farmer farms most of that road allowance in here, just because you may as well, because it's not being used. Little chunks of that road allowance are taking out. Things are starting to get a little shaky. So in a tiny little village like Franklin, there isn't any consistency as to what is happening where. And if we solidify them with approaches and whatnot, then you're just basically putting a placeholder, and then the real world takes over. In which case, why do we bother with the maps or that kind of stuff? So those are the kind of considerations. These things get lost over time. Yeah, I just found that was really interesting. The fact that I actually had to go through and label all these guys, and that people in the office did that, so it was really, really useful because I was finally able to figure out why I couldn't figure out where I was in the real world when there's literally 10 houses. And I just didn't think to account for somebody farming over the road. And I think that's going to happen more and more. I think in 500 years, you're going to lose some road allowances.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then where our stuff, and then establishing benchmarks is expensive. Like how many thousands of dollars have we spent doing that, trying to keep that in place? So I think part of the AMM needs to get on this. Like things like this need to be fixed, and Google Earth needs to be fixed, and Google Maps needs to be fixed so that there's consistency across all documents. It makes it easier for people to make plans. And I really think that we need to constantly, when we're talking about whole life accounting, we need to talk about the fact that when you put an approach, you're putting in multiple approaches, or the person receiving the benefit of it pays for it, and then they can make their own decisions. Or RM pays for it because we want to encourage people to live here. The other thing that I want to point out, just as like part of the holistic part of it, is urban planners in the last 10 years have been talking about how inner city cores subsidize suburbs because the suburb is the new fancy part, but they're riding on the back of all that paid off infrastructure that the inner city core pays for. And the more you spread out, and Brandon is finding that now, they keep spreading out and they have tens of millions of dollars of infrastructure that has to be paid so they can receive some millions back, and it doesn't quite work out. And now what they're finding is that they're redoing their development agreements and their costs. And it's in flux right now from what I understand. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm really on top of it, but they were at one point talking about $20,000 permit fees for new development for a home in one of the outlying areas and $9,000 for an inner city one. Now they're talking about doing like approximately 10 regardless of where it is. So continuing to let inner cities subsidize suburbs. And it goes on and on like that, but the RM is a little different because we're fixed. We're not sprawling. We're fixed and we're trying to infill, even though our infill is massive. Like it's not a city block, it's like a quarter section. So we need to fill people into these tiny little yard sites so that we can get more money. Or we need to abandon that concept and not worry about trying to encourage people and not try to pay for culverts and approaches because the amount of tax money you get off of a small house isn't really worth that much. So that's like, I mean, that's a huge difference in opinion, right? And that speaks to that policy, right? Which way are you gonna go? So I look, because I look at my property tax bill, so I pay $428 in taxes every year, property taxes. I consider myself to be lucky where I live. So I have a nice little acreage, I have a nice house, I have a shop, like I'm perfectly content. And I pay $428. So if I put a $5,000 approach in my place, like that's a crazy timeline to get that repaid. Like no one at the RM, like I don't even pay for my share of the gravel that goes on the road. Like I'm subsidized where I live. So when I talk about spending money, it's easy for me because I'm spending your money, not mine. Unless I voluntarily appeal my assessment and get it raised. But if I do that, that kind of screws everybody else up. Because then that raises somebody else that their taxes will go as well. So I don't know how the mechanism, otherwise I have to donate money to the RM.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Like if I give a $500 donation to the RM.
I'll take it right now.
That's the more clear way to
We start off with 6 figures. Go from there.
So when I look at it from a personal perspective, I want to widen my approach. It's not wide enough. But the existing one is there and paid for and in place, and the culvert is perfectly fine. So there's no way in my mind that the RM should pay for that. To me, that's black and white. I should pay for that. I want it wider, I should pay for it. And I think that would apply to other people as well. And then the same thing if
that was your second approach, though, not your main approach.
Well, that's, if it was my main approach and it wasn't there, I would still say I should pay for it because I don't pay enough taxes.
Oh,
So speaking as a person, that's how
yeah.
but then greed kicks in, and if the RM wants to pay for it for me, well then,
So
I'll spend $400 somewhere else or $5,000 somewhere else, right?
No.
But then it becomes a little less black and white when you go to Spring Lahara Colony, and if they're putting in a massive shop and they want, as part of a development agreement, if they want the RM to pay for the approach, there's a business case to be made for that, unless they're going to be doing it anyway. They're doing it, so let them. They're not going to not build it because we don't put in an approach. So it becomes more gray, and then that becomes more of an opinion as opposed to an actual, a clear right or wrong answer. And that's a whole lot of talk to say. I think that every culvert and approach we put in is incredibly expensive. It's like if you look at it long term, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars of locked in infrastructure costs to maintain it. Or you pass that responsibility on to the ratepayer that receives the private benefit of that approach. And then the CAO and the Public Works Foreman are responsible for making sure that it's maintained. And they might have to give work orders because if someone's private approach that they're responsible for is starting to damage RM public infrastructure, then it has to be fixed. And then you're telling somebody that perhaps doesn't have any money, you have to fix this $10,000 item today. And then that becomes, in some instances, it becomes unfair. But if you say to somebody that has loads of cash and has the capacity, it's black and white, fix it, okay. Little lady sitting there on a fixed income that has no cash reserves, that's not fair. So that's where the gray area comes in too, and there's no right answer. That's why, and again, that's why I'm saying all this, is because that's why that policy has different ways to do it. Because we have to decide what the right way is, or the least wrong way. I think I'm not talking now, thanks. I spoke really fast, I hope that worked.
Well, some of the problem is none of it's cut and dry. Those things we decide on a case-to-case basis here is because of that gray area. It's all gray. There's no black and white anymore, it seems. Because you have money, does that mean you should have to pay? Because you don't have money, you shouldn't have to pay?
Well, there you go.
So I'm just going to share with you what I'm learning, because I did decide to proceed with my training, although last month I was cautious about it. I did enroll, I am taking the course, I'm in my third course of CMMA, and the council's initiatives or the council's move forward is supposed to be in an unbiased way, not discriminating against race or color or wealth or income or what have you. Decisions should be made based on services being provided, regardless of financial backing.
Yeah.
So if the RM is deciding to put the culvert in or not put the culvert in, it shouldn't be based on any financial, because we're a service-based organization. So we're here to provide service to everybody in an unbiased way. Now that I'm in the course, I think I need to proceed. Now that I'm taking the course, I don't want to take it. It's a lot of extra work and reading and learning.
The RM of Rosedale West, in their policy specifically states all approaches and culverts will be the decision of Region Council. And there's no blanket policy of yes, you can have it or not. They want them all to go through council meetings.
I think, well, it's a good idea because it costs so much money now. Everything costs so much and we have such a narrow budget most of the time. So. And they're the same boat. Every municipality is the same boat as far as costs and budgets goes.
And I think it's always different. I think also the CAOs tend to be a little more tight with the cash, and councils tend to be willing to spend. They're more frugal. CAOs are more frugal. And here, it's like once a month, you can say, sure.
Blow somebody down.
I guess we might as well start these culvert installs. Rip the bandage off.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
So the first one is easy now.
Oh, you should look at
I don't know.
There's a little circling thing on there, yeah. I just,
This? Oh, rotate right there. Well, that's easier than going like this.
Yeah.
New culvert, location 85 west and 110 north. Basin culvert.
So, as Chris is coming on board, and I've been going through some of the outstanding quarter requests and that, trying to get something more than checked off. So we visited all these culvert or approach request sites in the last couple of weeks. And some of the numbers that came, that Melissa's presented to you, came from our measuring and conclusions, if I want to call it. So, I guess I would speak on 24/11, I guess I should say, both sides, talk to both sides, then both the councilor and also because we're farming. I feel it's not as beneficial to the RM of Rosedale, it's benefiting the ratepayers of that area. So it's a very expensive culvert. And
Which one's this?
That's one on Road 85.
that, just,
That one.
yeah.
It's kind of just right on the back road, there's no main traffic going by there, so all it does is let the access of the ratepayer, get access to another piece of land and not go through the town of Kelwood or whatever. It's a very expensive install, I call it.
So there's no culvert there right now?
There's nothing, there's just a smooth drainage.
Oh, I see, I see.
Yeah. There's no level of nothing, it goes right off the guy's land and it just drops straight down.
Oh, I see.
South of the landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm projecting this particular request is going to cost us $4,600.
Yeah.
Okay.
South or north?
Or, sorry.
North,
sorry.
north, I was gonna say,
Yeah, don't keep that good.
Yeah.
South of the big hole in the wall.
This is north of the landfill, and then
Yeah.
it's just a big drainage ditch there, so.
Okay.
I think the scope of that request is also there would be less farm equipment going through the town of Dudley, correct?
It's pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say that if the benefits accrue to a private landowner, then the costs should be socialized amongst the RM, then it should be.
Just to the landowner itself.
Yeah.
I don't think, from my opinion only, and you can have, everybody has their own opinion, right, their own opinion. I don't think the RM as a whole should be paying for this project.
The folks benefiting are the LUD of Kelwood, in my opinion. That's my perspective on
The
this.
LUD?
The LUD is
So the farm
going to
equipment don't go
be.
through town?
Yeah, that was the reasoning for the request actually was that. But yeah, we can the LED can revisit this and see, and then maybe the ratepayer and the LED can split some of the costs.
In 2025? Yeah, if they could do, put it in their budget in 2025.
Yeah.
Between the ratepayer and the LED, let them,
Figure it out.
yeah, handle the purse strings on that one.
So the request was made, so the way that I've set up the resolutions is that this council can approve, yes, you can put an approach there. And then we can decide,
Who pays?
yeah, after the fact. So, or just, yes, you guys can put an approach and we're done. We're not paying, we're not doing, and then if the LUD decides to budget it for next year, then at that point, they could add it to their budget and then we could help them with the materials by selling them the material for them to do the work.
Well, that opens up more, not just this situation, but it opens up the window of the door for more ratepayers to do their own culverts as long as we don't see any problem with having a culvert in the ditch, right, or the waterway, whatever you
Because
call
I
it.
think the ratepayer should ask council, can we put an approach? Can council need to decide yes or no? You can. And then there's the secondary issues of, are we supplying, are we building, are we doing those things? But I think council should approve, can the approach go or can the approach not go there as one decision? And then the next decisions after the fact.
So that'd be a new approach, is water storage involved?
Pardon me?
That'd be a new approach, is water storage involved, like as far as size involved?
There would be probably
They'd
a
have to be.
requirement to get them involved. So that also could be a $500 permit cost or a $100 registration cost.
Because she'll be doing this, so it's nice pipe to put in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, because even if it's municipal ditch, it wouldn't matter, right? It's still gotta.
Still gotta be-
Yeah, so you're probably right, yeah, rubber around it.
So that, now the project turns into a $5,000 project. Getting water
You just bumped it over the mark.
Thanks, eh?
But again,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the approach going in myself.
Mhm.
If all the ducks are for a road, but just a matter of the cost now. It's-
As long as it follows by the guidelines.
But yeah, I mean, then it goes back to who signs off on maintenance, as Jeff had mentioned, if the ratepayer is putting in said culvert, and then, so then does it instantly become an RM problem to maintain? Or does it stay as ratepayers' problem to maintain? Because we're gonna have, there's lots of approaches and culverts on this list today. And we get them, we get lots of months, so are we allowed to sign off, say, if it's Joe Blow's approach and he's putting it in, then Joe Blow, you're responsible for the next 5,000 years? Because it's a problem. Because if they damage the end of the culvert, well, that's Rosedale's culvert. So then we have to fix a culvert that we approved to put in, but we didn't actually.
But if you didn't buy it, it's not your culvert.
No, that's the other thing. So it goes back to that. So
If
who
we
is
didn't
it?
take purchase.
No, yeah, Rosedale didn't pay, so it's,
It's their.
but it
Yeah.
next council up, well, they know that if we don't do some documentation on it, it's like.
Yeah, each one has to have a development agreement.
Yeah, and its own, so maybe there's something to do there, because I'm not against having culverts put in, just, I mean, it goes
No,
back to.
yeah.
I guess the hard part would be like, winter time, say when it freezes up and it's thawing out, and the RM goes and cleans it out, and wrecks the culvert.
Yeah.
Who's gonna fix it?
Well, that's, yeah.
Can't tell the homeowner, you fix that culvert because it's wrecked now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you pay for it.
Well, I've seen it happen so many times, like, they go with the backhoe and, you know, think they're in the right spot and oops, you know, well, I don't blame the guy, it's kinda hard, you're
You
digging
get a
around.
36-inch culvert into a 24-inch culvert.
So, that's,
So they'd have to, part of the development agreement or the permit would be they have to keep the ends marked. And they either have to clean it up, or if there's damage when the RM does it for them, the RM is not liable.
yeah, I've seen.
You start to make people angry, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you're touching in a base that we're gaining on the infrastructure on it. They're gaining zero other than an approach.
We're not gaining on the infrastructure, we're
Well-
gaining an asset that now
Well,
turns into a liability for
Yeah.
5,000 years that we
Yeah.
need to maintain financially.
But when you look at our net worth, then all these culverts are on our net worth, what we own.
Except unless we sell
Not
them.
necessarily.
Just like all the bridges, everything, all that stuff, you know, it all goes on our,
I don't know, I think we
What
should maybe
we're-
clarify, like the culverts on municipal land or on the roads that are municipal roads are marked and are ours. I don't think the culverts on individual roadways to landowner property are marked. Because we're not mowing those lanes, we're mowing the municipal road.
Yeah, we're not mowing.
So we're marking our culverts, so we don't hit them on the municipal roads.
Right.
But we're not necessarily marking the culverts on landowners' lanes.
So
Because we're not mowing landowners' lanes.
oh no,
They're mowing their lanes.
yeah. Oh no, I was just,
So, like,
Oh,
that's,
the first part of the lane is not the homeowners. Because you got from the center of the road both ways, on the
I don't
outside of
know,
the
if you
ditch, that's
piggyback on
ours.
what the province does, it is the landowners. Like, the provincial permitting process, the
So we
regulator
only
is
own the road?
responsible for everything.
No, we own the road, but in this case, some of the other guys are putting their policies in where the RM has the right to the roads and they maintain the right to the right of ways and the road allowance. But the financial responsibility is the private landowner to maintain, fix, replace.
Their approach, their
Yeah.
access.
And that's the same idea like if
That's
Bell
what
wants.
the
And that's what the
province
province
said.
does.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, and that's what Westlake does, is they say, it's our road allowance, but your responsibility to maintain that particular culvert.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong.
It's just what it is, it's what it is there.
No, but that's what they got written in the province,
Yeah.
you know.
So it'd be a matter of having to like firmly, like definitively write it down for each one, right?
So each homeowner, to be honest with you, is only paying for a grader to come by his house once every 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just kind of setting that in motion, that that's all they're paying for. As far as the
Yeah.
taxes goes, they're,
And I guess in the CAO and. like,
well, yeah,
Because even the water, like you pay for your water separately, right? And then you got the fire department, I guess.
We're providing service as a whole, not to individual rates.
That's
I
tough
think
word.
that's more
Yeah.
the way that we
Yeah.
need to think about it.
It's worded.
So yes, we are grading everybody's road, we're providing that service to all. We're providing fire service to all. So it's about providing the service in an unbiased way. So Joe and Greg want an approach. Is that providing service to all?
No, this is providing
Joe
Joe Gray.
Gray, yeah.
That's the way that I see the RM, like the services that we're providing. Everybody's paying in and it's unbiased to the property that you own or how much money you have. You get the same service. You still get the grader when you buy your road. If you pay $400 in tax, or you pay $10,000 in tax. You get the same service provided. That's our goal, I think.
Grader goes faster, what is it?
Pardon?
Yeah.
For taxes, grader goes faster.
Like 6 or 7 times the summer.
Yeah.
Like that.
For
road is constantly-
$400.
We're in the gravel.
Like, I think mowed it 4 times already.
You're welcome.
You're right.
But that means that the rich nor the poor should get any better service than the other.
Exactly.
In there.
That is what I'm learning. That is what I was
I
reading.
know,
in
I
my
agree with that
textbook.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why the Human Rights Commission in Manitoba says that any bylaw written that negatively impacts a protected class like income or ethnicity, you can't write a bylaw that does that. even if it's unintentional.
Okay, so getting back to this now.
So then we can give, as a council, we can give permission to this ratepayer to install said culvert if they choose, or no? Is what we can do today
Without anything.
without any stress.
But if it doesn't work properly and it's all alongside the road as opposed to perpendicular, pardon me, is it for access to land or is it to drain a ditch?
Access, I guess.
Access.
Access out, in and out, I guess, of land, just to keep them.
Because otherwise, like if you give permission to put it in, are you also giving him responsibility to maintain?
That's why I would word that into every one of those bylaws we're about to pass, or resolutions, because it waives us of the responsibility and the damage caused by it. I think that's a safer way for us to go. Not just in this case, but in every case. Because anybody can ask to put a culvert in, and they maybe never installed a culvert in their life, so they might put it upside down. And the water doesn't know where to go.
That's a well.
That's a well. That's a well. Because I'm okay with this because of, and it's in my word, I guess, but it's budget time and all those things, and we have to learn how to do this right for the sake of the money we're spending and we're allowed to spend. And until you see it wrote down in numbers, what it actually costs. It's not so scary until you just see the numbers. So do any lots? Go to the next one. Civil fire insurance.
They're
So
all
do
the
we-
same.
And they're all the same.
They're all the same. So we either have to say, yes, they can put it, or no, they can't put it, and then decide what's going on. Or just to let the approvals go through that they can do the work that they want to do, and then just leave it at that.
I think if you're gonna let people approve it so that they can do the work, you also have to give them like a best practices drawing. It must be put into this standard. You can make it better, but this is your minimum.
And we can talk to Neequire and Planning District as well, because I'm assuming that there's some information that they can help us with in regards to this and approach widths and such. I think that's actually governed, how wide the approach should be when you put it in.
That would have had to change by now, I would imagine, the width of the approach.
Yes.
Now that the equipment's gotten bigger and everything like that?
I would think you'd be just a standard size for residential property. That's probably what they're going
Even if
with.
it's standard.
Regardless what you got for equipment, if you got an 8-foot plow or a 80-foot air drill, probably got a standardized size, everything.
There'll be a minimum requirement,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They're not
I would
going
think.
to modify.
Because anything above that, I'd like to be additional. I mean,
Yeah.
Why should Jeff get a smaller approach because he doesn't have a 80-foot air seat?
Yeah, because somebody might get one.
You might get one or a B train or two.
Then you extend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then buy the B train first. Then you get that.
When I talked to I don't know her name, I'm sorry, the clerk at the planning office, she made mention about the fact that that's supposed to be spelled out in the RM's planning or development agreement.
I looked high and low, and I got a call in to the planning guys to help. The only verbiage in the bylaw is that they have to have access to a municipal road.
There's no number of.
It doesn't say anything about who does it, how wide it is, nothing that I could find, and I'm sure it's in there in a table, but the planning bylaw is, I think, 67 pages long, full of tables and things, and I couldn't locate it in there. I did try to find it before this meeting, so that's why I called planning to see if they could help me out.
And I also noticed, like, I put a blank in because the one section there was how wide it had to be. I had a number in there and then I deleted it because on my third policy that I read, I had my third width. So that's why I
Oh,
said,
it varies from everyone.
yeah, so I said, okay, well, I'll just ask people that are smarter than me.
So then we have to put in a standard, we'd have to know our standard
Yes.
width first, like Rosedale standard width first, and then go from there.
And I think it probably is in our bylaw, I just
Okay.
couldn't find it.
Okay.
And when I had spoke to the province, they said years and years ago, they had made sure that there was one access to every quarter section if required. So if you own the whole
What section?
section, and you didn't need another approach, there wouldn't have been another approach provided to you. But if it was broken into quarters and each person owned a quarter, they would put an approach to each quarter years and years ago. And now they're doing the permitting process. And then everybody's required to do what they need to do to get their approaches and pay for their approaches on their own. So I'm not sure if you guys want some time to think of, like, there's 5 different culvert approach items and scenarios on this. I don't know if you guys,
Well, it seems silly, but we almost have to come up with a minimum first. If that's what, an extension on what minimum, if this one I'm looking at is a culvert extension, so if they already got 200 feet, say, and their minimum is 10 feet, and then we're giving them another feet, so whatever it is, but I mean, it's maybe, because we don't have a known standard. I don't know. I live on an approaches road, so I don't know.
It all depends on the width of your road, your main road too. Because if your road is narrow,
Yeah, coming out just.
you're coming over nowhere, it's like you're saying,
Yeah.
you're trying to swing, you got nothing to swing on.
No.
You need a wide approach, because the road's not gonna get any wider.
No,
Main road.
no,
So you gotta make your approach wider in order to do that swing.
Agreed.
And in a culvert situation, it's different story. It's just dirt, it's whatever.
so maybe to
But
not
it's cost, is what I'm saying.
muddy the water up too much, can we approve or not approve if they can do the work?
if they want to do the work
If they want
themselves.
to do the work, they can do it, and then we can figure out the rest of the details.
Because if it doesn't cost the ratepayers of the rest of Rosedale any money for the extensions or whatever, then what's the difference? At the end of the day, the culvert's there. As long as they do
Yeah,
site.
it's all, well, the one that's extension, I know this one, because it's washing out.
Yeah.
No, it's just straight up and down.
Yeah, it's straight up and down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She just said that was a well.
Because the way, this one, on 142, you're talking about Rayshire, yeah. I agree
Yeah,
exactly.
right
Is it-
there, it's like, it's washed out, and when we pull in semis to get those bins, they're dropping off the edge and it's breaking away more and more.
Yeah. The water comes right out of the yard, comes right down that laneway, this full bore, if full bore, you can't, how do you landscape that different? Unless you go back in the yard and landscape it, you go into the ditch. But even then, it's still not, it's still gonna come down the driveway.
It's still gonna go, yeah.
Yeah. And they put rock in there to try to prevent it and everything else, but I think the request for like, for a 12-foot extension or something like that,
Yeah.
which is definitely not unrealistic.
It,
No, not
no,
unrealistic.
I know we looked at earlier, you know, they figured even maybe a little bit less, I said no, but I think just slope on it. And if you were to rip up a little bit of it, no. You need width.
So then, so do we just want to approve this one then? Are they installing this themselves or are we
No, we were gonna.
were gonna?
Well, there's no decision on what we're doing, that's
Oh, I
why
see.
it's
Oh,
at council
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But this isn't an offer to, for them to resolve themselves, is what I'm asking, I guess.
no.
Right. The RM.
And so we're talking about the one,
No, we moved to the next one.
142, the one that's on worksheet 142.
Your number on that?
No, 142.
No, not on here, it's on,
Oh, on the
because these
agenda
are the old
side.
sheets.
Oh,
The old
okay.
sheets don't have a spot, but on the agenda, because these are all logged.
Oh,
We keep track of it, you can buy this, so that everything has a unique number. That's how we keep track, because there's a lot.
No, no, for
It's
sure,
hard
that
to
makes sense. I
remember.
didn't understand, I was looking for the 142 on here, but I just,
I should have wrote it on this sheet before I scanned it.
so did you do a cost on that one too?
Yeah, 900.
Okay, because I can't, my computer's going through.
That's from the new piece?
That'd be a new piece and there's no used pieces. There's a part of a piece there off one culvert. It's a 30-inch culvert, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that piece is like 10 feet, pardon me, which is, I don't think that's for 12, but I guess it's, no, actually, pardon me, there's a 12-foot chunk there, that's right here.
Yeah,
It's kind of, I'll have to save there for this specific
Right.
reason, right?
And there's 10 yards of fill?
Yeah, we would
required?
probably have to,
Approximately.
we'd have to haul it from Fisher Pit as well. I was thinking with the one
Yeah.
done, pile it there, maybe even put some, a little bit of riprap around with culverts and riprap, and then top dress it with pit run from Fisher's, because you're what, 6 miles away.
Well, it's the closest.
So that's
closest.
the scope of that proposal, if you want to call it, so.
So this will be done in-house minus the gravel itself? And pipe, yes, I heard, no, it's all done in-house.
Well, that's what council
Yeah,
needs to
right.
decide.
Yeah.
Are we doing it? What are we doing?
Okay.
for the.
Everybody wants
I
everything.
would, this is
Here's
why
my-
we're digging up all these spots in
Council
in
needs
our
to
roads
decide,
for
are we gonna
BFA.
give them the approval
Because
to do the work?
everything
Yeah.
we've done with
Okay,
their roads
they
is
can
just
do the work.
quick and
And then what do we want?
easy. And now they're washed away, now we're putting it in clay.
And
Oh, we
my,
could, easy enough, I guess.
There's some mixed
Yeah.
material in that.
Go ahead, Jeff.
And then consider that,
I
everybody
would
should get the
explain.
same service.
my vote would be that we approve the extension and that we, or will, the RM will do the work on a cost recovery basis. And, or they have the ability to do the work themselves as long as it's to spec.
I don't need any more work.
You don't get easy.
Okay.
I think that was a bias. But I concur, I mean, I guess with that too, I mean, if the ratepayers do the work, I don't have a problem. I mean, I know,
Yeah.
because we're gonna do a million extensions. But
But it's gonna be everywhere. right?
No, for sure it is, that's what I
This
mean.
is in Ward 4, but I'm sure.
Oh, no, that's what I mean, exactly, I mean, if we start now with, in any particular word, it's gonna go, it's never gonna get smaller. But I mean, I'm not against doing, having extensions put in, I'm just wondering who's paying.
Yeah.
That's my concern, because of,
And I think the ratepayer should pay.
and I concur, I think, that's, I mean, it doesn't matter what word is in it. Because we could sell them the product, not the, I don't mean gravel, I mean the culvert and the extension as a, because we buy them, we're allowed to do that. Because even a 12-foot extension for, like, Carl, it's not gonna take long to put in. To eat coffee and breakfast.
The weights
But,
on it.
yeah, but it's the only scary is, it's what we're talking about is money, because at the end of the day, these pipes cost more and extensions are required. Just, it's costing us a lot of money at the end of the day. New access is a different scenario.
So I guess we didn't decide anything yet, have we?
Well, I think,
Basically.
but I like, if Jeff made half a motion there, I'm concur, like, to give the culvert, the cover at cost plus whatever we do, and have said ratepayer put the install. Then when our public works is tied up doing it, and that's all our money invested, we don't have any money invested technically.
We have nothing invested. We just give them approval, basically, that's all we get.
Yeah, that would be my thoughts on it.
That's all we gave.
Yeah.
Said, yeah, you can do it, yes, you can.
Yeah, well, we can sell them the pipe, well, at a reasonable rate too, because we get them cheaper than most as a rate for our rate. Piece of pipe, culvert. Oops.
But they were 10% above. We saw Paul.
Yeah.
Plus 10%.
Plus 10%, yeah.
Well, we get a discount to buy the first place, right?
How much?
Not much.
You price it, you should know.
much.
Not much. That's like our tires we buy for our trucks.
Yeah, not much.
That's a joke from A&M.
Yeah.
But
So we send this back to the ratepayer and say, yeah, we'll do it, but you have to pay the cost, or is that what we're thinking, or?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I don't think you were thinking that. I think you think it should be provided, right?
Always has, was before.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Scott?
I'm torn. You know, it's our infrastructure because it's on our property. I find it hard to go back to somebody in town after we put a culvert in 10 years it failed. We had to supply him, or he had to supply us with a new culvert. I know the numbers Jeff came up with and are scary when you think about it. None of us are gonna have to worry about that because most of those numbers are fair ways away.
Yeah, true enough.
Phew. Think of us young ones. I gotta worry about it for another 25 years.
Well, I'd like to see people have a decent laneway to get trucks in and out of their yards. I guess we do for one, we do for all. Is that not,
That's the scary of it, yeah.
regardless of whether you farm 80 acres or 8,000 acres? You still toward Jeff. Ask somebody else.
I'm just wondering if council's prepared to budget and put those mill rates out to give culverts away to everybody.
It's scary.
That's what we're asking here basically today.
We're not really giving them away, I don't know.
And I don't think in the past, Melissa, that approach has got us into trouble financially.
Well, on this agenda alone, there's 6
Right.
requests.
But
So
that,
there's
in the
about-
past, there wasn't the number that we're talking now.
But as equipment gets bigger, there's gonna be numerous requests for expanding those approaches.
I think our wants and needs got out of hand, and we dug a bigger hole than we should have. And we all sit this table. So,
But the thing is, if we start doing it for everybody, then the person that did some last spring, so we're gonna send them a check back, Tom, we're gonna reimburse them? I don't wanna do that. Well, really, that's not fair then. So, how do you split the hairs in this? I think the time to rip bandages off, like I said before, and it's okay, we have to say no going forward. And that's a hard word to say.
Yeah, you can do it now or the first of January next
Somebody
year.
had any guys that have bought their own and booked them in the last? Only some guy, the odd guy will buy one, but they want putting it somewhere else.
I guess Spring Hill would be the only one.
There's,
Last month.
Ward 6, there's requests to spring that people want to put their own extensions in. And we just said, okay, and they did it, and we never repeat. So, how do you go back and say, now we're gonna be starting to do them all? I mean, they already did their costs, and they did it for their benefit. So if it benefits you, then why should all ratepayers pay for your benefits?
Well, we give them permission for some approaches lately that didn't have a pipe involved.
Yeah.
And that rate did the work themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's splitting hairs on the other side of you, because it has a pipe or doesn't have a pipe.
Yeah.
But if we just say no across the board, they have to have access. As long as they got minimal access, which, let's use Jeff's approach as the measurement, if that's minimum access, as long as they got that. After that, it's like gravy on your french fries, it's an extra.
what are you gonna do though when it comes to the fact that our roads aren't wide enough? We're gonna start widening our roads because
Yeah.
guys bought 80-foot or 100-foot air.
But I mean,
That's not the ratepayers' fault.
No.
The odd one it is, but mostly,
Yeah.
That's where it's all going, like, we just didn't grow with the times.
I think this is part of cost.
We haven't grown with the times.
yeah, like that's the thing.
All the trucks are getting bigger and everything, even the pickups are bigger than what they used to be, like.
Yeah. Well, they're all gonna be electric, so.
Well, that's even heavier.
Let's not even go there.
That's even heavier.
But I think any of these requests, in my opinion, is the cost of doing business for the ratepayer. Because I mean, I use Jeff's approach again, and I don't have an approach, I come literally right out of the road. I'm the luckiest man in the world. But I mean, it's, so with Jeff's got a car and a truck and a camper, whatever, he's got normal access. And the fact that these guys need more room is because of the lifestyle they chose. And the lifestyle affords them to need a bigger culvert, so. And it doesn't matter who they are, I'm not speaking any names, just because we have several requests, as Melissa said, and if we don't rip the Band-Aid off, Dave's terminology, next year we'll be in a worse budget state than we've ever been in. Because everybody needs more. We all need more room. I mean, it doesn't make you a bad driver because you can't make the corner, but.
That's like what I should have asked, I guess, last meeting, why I was to go out or whatever. I mean, I found out, of course. But my young guy, he's paying for his right. He got approved, but he's paying for it, right? Which is, so that's basically the same here.
No, it's exactly.
With this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly the same.
I just,
No, it isn't.
I didn't want to bring that up, but I'm sorry.
No, it's part of the game. We gotta be the same across the board. That's what I'm trying to stay with, be
If
consistent.
we approve this and we're doing it, then we have to back up and everything we've disapproved before and undo it.
Yeah.
So then we might as well, we've already set the
Standard.
the standard, we might go, let's keep going with it.
We gave him the approval, and it passed, like you see, when the gurney said we never did charge.
Well, everything's just getting old.
It's getting old,
Like,
But if this culvert's not damaged, it just hasn't adding gas to it. Is that?
Correct.
is that the-
Yeah.
Okay, in this situation.
I don't have one request coming across my desk to replace something that's damaged.
Okay, this is existing.
This is
These are all
extensions.
extensions, building new approaches,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Access is-
doing what have you.
If it is
The one that's
dental,
right
like
now.
straightened ends.
Well, they took it out though.
no, The other one damaged too. That one was really damaged.
The
bad.
two we gave them for free or damaged?
No, the one approach there that they took out, that they were gonna, they took the damaged culverts there, that they're taking that approach out, we gave them calls to do that one, and they moved it over here, that's all they did. So they took this approach gone, the damaged culverts, everything.
That wasn't what was
Still usable,
presented to us.
That one,
The west one?
yeah,
The west one was still usable, it's just too small for their new approach into their equipment yard.
no, it was damaged. That's where they were always having the problem, there was always plugged up solid,
There was
so they
some,
couldn't get through there.
yeah.
So that's where the water was backing up
So then,
and run over the road.
yeah.
So then we gave them culverts for that one. They just took it out, moved over to this one.
So we replaced their damaged culverts.
Yeah, there, for that approach. Their main driveway approach, they're damaged there too,
But who damaged it?
over years. Time.
They had two
What does it tell, what
approaches?
does it tell us when it's like, Ernie?
I don't
Well, I
understand.
know the end,
They've driven over the edge of it, but their trucks have damaged the end of it.
they haven't, but
Well, somebody has, and it was repeatedly.
Trucks coming in.
Repeatedly, repeatedly.
yeah.
You can
But
see
if
it.
you look in the culvert and tell me that the center's not damaged.
Water should go through it.
I feel like at that point that somebody should have came to the office with a written request that we have a damaged culvert and we should have went and assessed. None of that took place ahead of time, so it's kind of like he said, she said. He said it's damaged, we didn't see it, we don't think it. We need to set up some structure at the RM instead of this verbal type stuff. So if we can start using word sheets, so if the colony says it's damaged,
Well,
let's record it, let's go on site, let's assess the situation, let's bring it to council for a decision, and then we can move forward. We have to stop doing things in the background and doing things verbally. We need to start setting structure and getting things documented and taking photos and getting some sort of evidence of what's actually happening.
oh, we did go out. Me and Dave were both there. We met with them.
And you
that's
guys
site
aren't,
everything.
and you guys aren't aligned.
I know,
That's
but just
what I'm
saying, we
saying.
met there, you were with me, we looked at them. You said that middle one is shot, done. You said that yourself, I'll even bring Tony and they'll vouch for it.
There was some damage too, but a lot of the damage, what they wanted to replace, and they said it too, when they were there, was the end of it on the
That's
east side.
That's the far, that's the east one.
So
I'm talking about the other
The
one.
west one's already done.
Yeah, I know.
We already gave them the codes of that. They put them in. And also on that request, they were gonna come pick them up at the site. You texted me and said, no, that's it's home there.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. I got it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yes.
And we delivered, for us to deliver them?
Yes, you did. It's on my text message.
I said they were coming over to get them.
You said we delivered them.
There is, and there again, like, their access, I mean, I'm exactly familiar with my work, Spring Village, but is that not on our road bounds too, going north?
No. No, but
In
yeah.
Colony,
No.
Yeah, it goes into the
that's on the
colony.
road lot.
That's a road bounds.
Yeah. That's road allowance right there, it goes through their yard.
And the next road allowance, that road allowance, we also put culverts further up. Besides.
Yeah, they paid for those ones.
Okay, let's keep going here. So we gotta decide on culvert install 2011.
That's
So
all.
this is just a yes or no? Or,
Yep.
yeah.
So that's,
So we received correspondence requesting new culverts on 85 West, just north of 110 North. The request is for two 36-inch culverts times 9 meters and a 36-inch coupler. The estimated supply cost to complete this request is approximately $5,000. Therefore, be it resolved that the council approve, do not approve, building the approach and installing the culvert as requested at the location. Further, be it resolved that council agree or disagree to supply the materials requested, and possibly you can supply the manpower. Further to that, be it resolved that council agree or disagree to charge the ratepayer or ask the LUD to budget it or what have you. So there's 3 decisions to make. Are we gonna allow it to be built? Are we gonna supply the materials? Are we gonna charge for the materials?
There's 4 decisions.
Oh,
For the ongoing costs of replacement.
oh, and ongoing costs.
the licensing of,
And licensing.
if required, yeah.
You install, yeah.
So there's 4 costs.
So it's yes, yes, no, no.
So are we approving that they're allowed to put the approach in?
Yes.
I would say
I
yes.
have no problem.
Yeah.
That's the first question, that's the yes
That's the
one.
easy one.
That's the easy one.
Approval.
Are we approving that we're gonna supply the materials and the manpower?
No.
Or
No.
just materials, or,
No.
no?
We can supply materials at their cost. Is that, is
Yeah.
that is that an option?
The next
Closer to
option
that.
is, are we gonna charge them or not? I guess, yeah, it's up to you guys. Do you wanna say you're gonna charge them first and then you're gonna give the materials? Or do you
Cost
wanna give the
recovery basis.
materials and then decide if you're gonna
That's
charge
the
them?
next word I use.
We'll supply the installation on a cost recovery basis,
Okay.
yes or no?
Okay, so
That's
members of the
materials and
council
economic
either
materials,
agree or
labor,
disagree to
equipment.
supply the
Oh,
materials
and then just charge
requested
forward to that.
and the manpower to build the approach on a cost recovery basis. And then I put, so if we
Cost
say,
recovery.
Can I say 20 seconds more?
yeah,
Again, I hate to go back to the state of all the time,
Mm.
but they implemented a policy where they would do repair works on water mains on a cost recovery basis to the ratepayer, or pardon me, to the utility payer. And they did it from the water main, which was in the middle of the street, so the ratepayers were not allowed to touch the street. But they also weren't allowed any input on how much it cost them to get that work done up to their house. So the city would go in and then give an exorbitant bill to the homeowner. Here's your $10,000 if you didn't budget for it or prepared for surprise. And there was no checks or balances in place. No, there was equipment there, it was $500 an hour, and then $50 an hour, $100 an hour, and it took 12 hours to job. That's the problem that's gonna happen here, is because it's not a quote, right? And that's where the North Second Langford is really smart, I think, for their water connections. It's $17,000. If it goes over that, they eat it. If it's under that, they keep it. And that way there's no, you either, I agree to pay 17 and I don't care, or I don't and I don't get water. And it's the same thing with something like this. It's gonna cost $5,000 because they have to know up front.
Oh, yeah.
And then if we go over, then it's, I'm gonna say incompetence, but I don't mean it negatively. It just means we should be better.
I do.
We just learned from that.
Yeah, we paid for it.
That's what-
paid for
so
it.
the cost that I provided has no manpower associated. This is just purely supply cost. No manpower was allocated in here.
Well, that's it.
It just says supply. So this, the $5,000 for this one would just be supply and then the registration to the water district water folks to get their
Right.
permitting.
Would be actually-
No manpower. So that's, and if we're gonna do a cost recovery basis, I would like to have, shall the ratepayer choose to proceed? So I can provide the dollar figure to them. Here's what it's gonna cost for the RM to do this work for you.
Yeah.
Do you wanna do it? And then the ratepayer has the decision. They can decide if they do or they don't.
Could, yeah, because they could maybe get it done cheaper depending who they are, right?
Yeah.
As far as it goes, so that's fair enough. As long as I understand, there's no break, no labor in that, I guess. Or else just get out of that and just say, we approve you to do the work on your own, which is whatever. But I like the wording, so. I think that's what we should.
Yeah.
I like the wording of that. actually.
And then are you wanting to add ongoing cost and repair, or at this point in time, should we just pull a policy together that has this information in it, rather than having it on every single resolution?
They can put it on a policy for future.
Yeah.
for the future.
Which means that we're either sandbagging this individual with a surprise, or we're assuming responsibility forever. Because you can't, if he doesn't know that he is agreeing to ongoing maintenance, you can't surprise him with that fact after.
Good point.
Yeah, okay.
So it just needs to be one more for the RM to do.
Until we get our policy correct.
Yeah.
So-
And I don't know what's right or wrong.
No,
I can't stress enough, I don't have a real opinion, because I think they're both equally wrong.
it's about our funding at the end of the day, so to me, it's, the wording seems extreme, but it's what we have to do with granting these days.
We're gonna approve to do it. We're gonna agree.
Agree
So
to
Jeff,
sell
Jeff
them.
put these two together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the, I think
Oh,
that's
I see.
great wording. This one was the cost as well, so. Yeah, okay. This one's perfect.
What do you do now, Lauren?
This one was,
Do you want me to read this all again?
Maybe, does everybody understand the resolution?
I know it.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Do you want me to read this again?
Yeah,
Because sometimes I write crazy things. Poor Carl has to read them. Whereas correspondence was received requesting a new culvert be placed at 85 West, just north of 110 North. Whereas the request is for two 36-inch times 9-meter culverts and a 36-inch coupler. Whereas the estimated supply cost to complete this request is approximately $5,000. Therefore be it resolved that council agree to building an approach and installing a culvert at the requested location. Further be it resolved that council agree to supply the material requested and the manpower to build the approach on a cost recovery basis, shall the ratepayer choose to proceed.
That sound right?
That sounds good.
That sounds excellent.
it's almost good as long as the culverts are that size.
Well, that's why water stewardship would have.
Well, first.
Yeah, being sold
Yeah.
first, yeah.
First,
So this is all just an estimate?
Yeah.
We'll have to do more firmed up costs
Like a
to
quote
send to the ratepayer or to send to whoever's gonna do the
If
work.
they approve, they gotta want to do it first after that, like that's,
Yeah.
Right.
you can, if they say no, then no.
So do I have a mover on
I'll
this?
do that, because it's nice and confusing, I think.
I'll second it.
Because he's nice and confusing too.
All in favor? Carried.
What did we just do?
Okay, 142.
Oh, I think that's.
That's the extension.
It takes a minute. If
3 days they come down.
we're gonna save some money, we're getting started around this one.
Big value.
Oh, I know what that was about. That was that where place of safety thing, because we have to move the Biffy from one location to the other. That's what happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's what we want.
Yes.
This motion.
Yes, an extension. So
Yeah.
the same thing. Are we gonna allow them to do it? Are we gonna cost
I'm
them?
not even gonna touch that. There's a lot of conversation with that one. This makes my hair stand on end.
I'm not sure of the situation, so.
It's bad.
Okay.
If it's left, it's just gonna keep deteriorating, just like.
then I think the motion should basically be the same as the last one. But again, not surprising them, like what about on this one, on an extension? Who is responsible for ongoing maintenance?
I crossed off the other one, the ongoing maintenance wasn't on there, because I'm assuming we're gonna have a policy in place by 2025 that says that particular information in the policy.
So,
Because we don't have the records for what culverts we did install or we didn't install, who's maintaining, it's gonna have to be.
Oh, but yeah,
a
it wouldn't be
kit, right?
retroactive. Yeah.
No.
It would be retroactive. If you have a culvert in your approach, you'd be responsible to maintain it.
Well, then it'd be retroactive to everybody. You wouldn't
Yes.
have records. 100%.
Yes.
but this culvert, we're already maintaining it, I assume that we're extending it? So that, I mean, this would already be our problem, so to speak?
Like, no, the extension is benefiting the ratepayer.
So, great.
So it's going, correspondence was received to place it here. The request is for two 30-inch culverts, is for two 30-inch by 4-meter culverts, and this is supposed to be one 30-inch times 4 feet, 4 meters.
Yep.
What's the extension?
Which one you're dealing with here?
This is 42, 142.
No, this is 30-inch culvert, 12 feet long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right, 4 meters.
Yeah.
1 30-inch, 4 meters
Yes,
long.
yes.
And a 30-inch coupler. The estimated cost to complete is $900. Therefore, council approve the extension of the approach and installation of the additional culvert links. Further be it resolved that council agree to supply material requested and the manpower to build the approach on a cost recovery basis shall the ratepayer choose to proceed. Who's gonna motion it, I guess?
Just quiet fellow in the corner.
Jeff is.
Jeff motion,
I'll say.
Earl second. All in favor?
You know, you want to have a recorded vote?
So this is the same. Whereas correspondence was received requesting a culvert for 88 North Spring Hill Colony main driveway, whereas the request is for two 30-inch times 4 times 7 meter culverts and a 30-inch coupler, whereas the estimated supply cost to complete this request is approximately $3,000. Therefore, be it resolved that the council approve the removal and replacement of the culvert. Further, be it resolved that council agree to supply the materials requested for pickup at the shop on a cost recovery basis. Shall the ratepayer choose to proceed?
That's like I said, I mentioned earlier, that's road loans. Right?
That goes right through the colony.
Yeah. That one's different again, I think. Because it's road loans.
Do we maintain that road?
It goes right through the colony.
No, do we maintain that road? Do we push snow off it?
No.
No.
Does any other public traffic go down that road alone?
They're allowed to, I guess.
But do they?
Yeah.
Allowed to, but I don't think nobody does.
Because it's probably, it's a unique situation, but
It
it
doesn't
doesn't,
go anywhere, I don't think.
no, but I bet you,
Once it gets into, partly into the colony,
Yes.
it doesn't go right out.
It goes out the backside.
It's a basic approach.
Field.
It goes out the backside. And then hooks onto that road, the road 89. Hooks onto there.
And Jablowski's there now. Trail.
Jack Kowalski's trail.
but truthfully, until this meeting, I had no idea that that went through there. You know, but there's several hundred ratepayers in Rosedale that are the same as me that don't know, and that's okay. I mean, it's, but if we don't maintain it as a road allowance, and there's no traffic as a road allowance, it's an approach. So, that's my thoughts.
That's no different, like the zoning acres. Zoning acres the same way.
No, and I'm not,
It goes right
yeah,
through there too.
but right now, they're not asking for a call.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, respectfully, I wouldn't want to drive through the colony on this piece of road allowance. I just have respect for the folks that live in the colony, even though it's a road allowance, because it's, but I don't think that changes my thoughts on how we do this call either.
Because if we had the undeveloped road allowance policy in place, they'd be signing and taking responsibility for that.
They sure would, yes, they would. And you respect that, right, in 100%.
So the thing about this one is, does it hinder economic development if we don't do it? Or are we rewarding economic development if we do?
And who is it benefiting? Is it
And
benefiting
who
the
is it
entirety of the RM, or is it benefiting their colony?
So if a business though, if we're trying to encourage economic development, it's
already there.
So there's an existing pipe there now that's just in trouble, is that kind of the?
Yeah, they have to steam it every year. They figured that they would do the ditch all the way down to, on their cost, make it easier for the water to flow.
To get over.
This is the way I understood it, right? Yeah.
This is, they're doing, just making it so the water flows.
Yeah.
Instead of over the road and going down steaming culverts for a day or two or whatever.
so this isn't a private benefit, this is municipal drainage.
This is private.
Somewhat, yeah.
Is it though? Because it goes across the road.
Their road, get access to their property.
But it's municipal.
Maybe it's municipal road.
And
Municipal drainage.
It goes back to the end of the road.
Yeah.
They would be responsible for it, the same as the guys in your area are responsible for their roads.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of this band today, serving everyone.
Yeah. That's actually a good point, isn't it?
Do I have a mover?
I'll be the bad guys.
Seconder?
I'll second it.
Because it's gonna be the same, right? That's the same as.
Yeah, same as.
Same as the other one, yeah. All in favor?
Nothing near that.
So it's 4, 3, carried.
Only 3 more to go. Okay, where correspondence was received requesting approval to build an approach on Road 101 North, Northwest 2917-15 West, whereas the ratepayer will complete the work required, therefore be it resolved that the council approve or do not approve the building of the secondary approach. Done. No culvert.
What number?
No culvert, 179.
Pretty simple.
Oh, sorry.
179.
I say no. It's too cheap and easy.
I know, it doesn't go.
The Band-Aid on this one's smaller.
And in a case like this, the public works foreman would go out to a site inspection and say, yes, it's not going to impede anything.
Yeah, you should.
And there would be a rubber stamp, right?
Which you already did. We already did that up front.
No, and I think that's right. That should be that, as you said, Jeff, going forward to any of these, doing my own sites as far as it goes.
So do I have a mover on this one?
Oh, sorry, that would have some sunshine.
Seconder? All in favor? Carried.
Just really they're doing nothing here. This one? I just got it
Yeah,
open.
he's just gonna put, they're just building the approaches. No culvert. The next one is correspondence was received requesting an approach to access pasture on Road 101 North, Southwest 3217-15, as access does not exist due to a subdivision. Whereas the request is for a 24-inch by 7-meter culvert, the estimated supply cost is $900. Therefore, be it resolved that council approve the installation of the approach. Further be it resolved that council agree to supply the materials requested to build the approach on a cost recovery basis. Shall the ratepayer choose to proceed? Or not approve, whatever you guys decide.
Is that one of your older troops?
Yeah, that's where Mel Name used to live. The guy subdivided that property out, and that was the access into the pasture. Now there's no access, all-weather access into the pasture, unless you go through the guy's yard. So an approach has to be made, and a culvert put in there. Chance of the water being in that area is limited, but I thought if we're doing a culvert, or doing an approach, we better do the culvert, and those questions asked, just in case, yeah.
So because this property was separated off,
Yeah,
created a problem for the guy who wants to use it.
pasture, yeah, there's no private access to it. Yeah, you have to go through the other guy's yard, which is the guy's letting it happen, but that's not proper. The Rex is not.
Is that one of the conditions of the subdivision?
I don't know, so that I can't answer to that.
I would assume there's a development agreement associated. I don't know how long ago it was divided and I didn't have a chance to pull that agreement.
I would say it was subdivided about 8 to 9 years ago.
Yeah, some of those were the condition.
Yeah,
That the rate.
and that's our standard now,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's a requirement to get subdivided, it's the rateapayer's responsibility
Yeah.
to put the
So
secondary access.
whoever subdivided, it's their responsibility to give access to it. And that's what all they're asking for is permission. They're not asking for the municipalities to do anything other than permission to build the approach.
Done.
And pay for it, they would pay everything, culvert and everything. They're not asking,
Legit.
just permission.
We'll just sell them a pipe
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is actually a used chunk there that's that
and
length
do
too.
the job.
That would do the job. Yeah, instead of a new culvert, there's a used one that's exactly the same thing, so. So this is permission to proceed.
So we can sell them that used one, pretty good price then.
Yeah. Or, Melissa, it's always
Twice a new.
half a new
Well,
plus.
let's-
a new.
Yep.
Yeah, half
Just
a
as
new
long as
plus
it's on a
10%.
cost recovery basis, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
Yeah.
go from there.
it's all the same then.
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a mover?
Oh, sorry. You step on your toes.
Seconder?
Go ahead, Robert. Oh, Ron's good.
Oh, yeah.
All in favor?
Okay, we're almost done. And this one is on a municipal road.
But so was the Spring Hill Colony.
Yeah.
I
No,
guess.
This is where Jeff,
So the boundary road between us and North Cypress Langford has a culvert that is not working properly. It's a 24-inch culvert that needs to be replaced because it's wrecking our road that is not running through a colony and is benefiting, I think, more ratepayers. And I am asking for permission to discuss with the CAO of North Cypress because we have a boundary road agreement. We would need approval from them first to present information to them on the cost and then hopefully recover half of the cost from North Cypress Langford to repair this portion of road. So the resolution is written, whereas Public Works employees noted a deteriorated culvert during work repairs on 84 North and 93 West, undeveloped road, whereas two 24-inch by 7-meter culverts, a coupler and fill would be required to repair the damage caused, whereas the estimated supply cost to complete this request is approximately $3,300, whereas the location is on a boundary road with a boundary road agreement which will require pre-approval from North Cypress Langford. Therefore be it resolved that the council approve or do not approve the CAO to consult with North Cypress Langford CAO on this topic.
If we can have our cost back, I think it's a win-win-win because it lets the water flow. When there was a major mud puddle there, then we went straight dirt in and fill it up. And the water just backs up and goes right across the road. So of course, culvert's not doing a job, goes across the road. Hence, we got a bad situation. Yeah.
There's a pipe there now?
Yeah, there is collapsed. It's done. Yeah, you can't see it, you can't do nothing with it, it's done.
But there was an existing.
There was a pipe there, yeah.
So it should be an R&R then?
Pardon?
Should be an R&R then?
R&R and then of course.
No licensing.
Potholes, need to, yeah, do your fill with some pit run or whatever, just to fill it up, right?
I just don't want to get in the same situation we got into previously with the gravel situation where we said it's this much and they said we didn't agree. And so I want to have something in writing to them so she can present to her council and say, okay, this is the situation, this is how much it's going to cost, this is the proposal. And then her council can agree, we can agree, then we can maybe proceed to do what needs to be done.
Before 2027?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
When I see maybe for new stretch.
Sure.
Did I hope there's something enough either? When the new stretch needed? That's all or something enough. It's in the air.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I have enough.
I have an objection.
Having
That's the
to.
one, yeah.
You gotta check your own ass.
Or the north end is this line
Because
here.
this is the correction line.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's as private a benefit because it's not a maintained road.
No, it's not.
So there is no material difference between this unmaintained road
down by the
allowance
chicken barns?
and the Spring Hill Highway Colony unmaintained road allowance.
West of Chicken Bones.
Well, they're maintaining the road, the colony's maintaining it. Right?
It's not maintained by ESCO.
But we are not. So what that's,
Well, we are, let's be honest, we are maintaining numerous back roads.
Mhm.
We had numerous requests this year from all over the place to go on the back roads, and we did. This was one of them. North Cypress called me several times to go repair this situation. And I reached out to North Cypress and McCurry both to see if they had undeveloped policies or bylaws or anything. Neither RMs do. We also do not. So right now it's just a tribal knowledge type thing because we don't have an approved policy. They don't have an approved policy. And this one we did have to go. I think we went twice
Went twice to fill. First-
To fix
first-
it.
First time to get some fill in there, let it dry up, pack that, and then we did it again. And then hence, the note was made by a ratepayer that there's a reason why that pothole's there, check the culvert out. Yeah, not good. So.
It doesn't matter to the conversation. Where does that road go? If you go south on the road, you're gonna get 60
Right to
miles.
Franklin.
Right to Franklin.
Goes straight west of Franklin.
Oh, it goes west, sorry, to Franklin.
Only if you have a really good truck.
I've been on a working journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so this road, we're talking about going this way, east and west that way.
Yeah, and this is part of the boundary road.
The boundary road, where we did the boundary road, we fixed
Oh, the
that.
same road.
Same road.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
hold that.
Remember, boundary road agreement also says we're supposed to maintain, actually our 90, or their 90, right to Franklin. Our boundary road agreements.
Yeah.
That's the one.
There, Nate?
Yeah.
There and I.
Had we,
Then we know
had
it ours.
request.
Why don't we just do a low level crossing there, if it's not very much traffic?
I don't think you could do a low level crossing there, because you got the railway tracks that that far away from there either. It's on the other side, it's close to it, but your low level crossings kind of gonna cost you more money than your culvert almost.
It was $3,000. They put them in once, and they're not gonna go rotten. or-
No, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Stones going up. So it must be a little bit of a grade there then if there's a 2-foot plug, right? Like
All right.
a bit of a road?
I think that was, I have to go back, but I think it was an 8, no, it was a 2-foot one, yes.
I think that's,
Yeah, it's 2, yeah, it's a 24-inch, yeah.
The problem there is the tracks and everything act as a dike against the natural drainage.
Yeah.
Oh, cold water.
So this is just taking the water from one side, scooting it to the
Scoop
south.
it to the other.
Yeah.
Because the tracks actually cross that road, right? And then they go back across.
You want to go back a couple, three
Yeah.
times across that freaking road. So.
Yeah.
So, is there a material difference between these two situations then? Yeah, Springfield and this one?
I think, I'm gonna say yes, if the counselor of that area had put in a black road request to grade it, then yes, there's a difference. Because we don't grade that road through the colony. That's my opinion of the question.
And when the work request came in to mow it, it was mowed by the RM without anybody having to.
Do it, explain. So that is my difference. That's.
I can ask Paul if he wants the road graded in there.
Yeah.
No,
He'll say yes
but,
now.
no, for sure it would, but the other thing is if you open that road up to all traffic and tell the ratepayers are welcome to go through there, the colony wouldn't like it, neither would I.
Yeah.
Because they've been there private, I don't want to say it, private road for how many years, how long that colony's been there? And I would like to leave it alone as that, as cause a rift by calling that a municipal road, even though it is. It's just, it's been their own trail for a long time.
Only welcome to it.
oh,
No, I don't mean that way, but just the riffraff that could use that
That's
road.
why they have
instead.
neighbors, they have every neighbor and all the miles around.
Yeah, no, I'm not disputing that at all.
it's like Bloomfield Colony, you drive right through.
Well, that's what I mean, you,
Bloomfield Colony, you drive right through.
them, and
Also
then
road goes right through.
Well, First Woods Colony, same thing, you can drive right in, straight into the river.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not disputing any of that, just it's, we have to come up with something here.
The landfill?
Yeah, that's it.
Are we moving, did we approve that one so you can talk to somebody?
Yeah.
Carl said it's approved, so I don't know if Jeff's question after the fact is not motioning.
Well, I asked that, I didn't take the vote, but whatever.
Oh, thank you.
What's clear on this other tender was exactly what we gotta do there. This is tender for the landfill, is that correct?
Where are we looking?
Yeah,
Landfill filled.
landfill fill.
Phil.
Yep. We did it, last year it was done, to remember right.
Oh,
Last 2 years in a row.
well, the first year we did it for 2 years, that last year was way quicker, so yeah, 1 year last year. Yeah, same time actually, because we did, the first time we did it for 2,000 yards, and this time, the last 2 times we did 1,000 each time, which is, and it takes lots now, a lot of lots. It takes a little bit more because we're hauling more garbage to the Kelly landfill.
That's the material he's bringing in. No, like not bringing in.
It's gonna, yeah.
No, but like what he's brought in.
Yeah, just to kind
Wow.
of, to get to this. Yeah.
Get to this.
Yeah. And I think you have an agreement in place already to buy the stuff, right, for Mr.
Yes.
Warren? Yeah, across the road.
It'll be $1.50 a yard.
Yeah. Yeah, this part is just the trucking, right? This end.
Yeah.
There's a substantial difference in a couple of those.
Isn't there?
Well, that's why I was staring at it, like, did they understand? That's real?
That's right.
Everybody gets the same tender.
Yeah, he did the same, actually the same last time. Mr. Rimple did the same last time, and I was shocked myself how he could do it that way, but he did it, and did a great job, so. I mean, it's this move and fill, but I don't know how he could do it for that money, honestly. The one guy, labeled the equipment he used, and that was fine, and by the hour, it made sense to me, what he was gonna, what the quote said. But at the end of the day, this one beats it by lots.
Is this how many yards?
1,000, so it's a little, it's $6 a yard, right? That's loading and hauling, and we're pushing it into a pile, but that's the same with every one of those quotes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's they moved lots the last time. I think they did it all one day.
I'll make the motion. And for rental, be the successful
Paper
tender.
Tender, yeah. That's the second one. Are you going to
Yeah, no, I got it here. So y'all agree on a rental?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not much different, John.
It's almost, yeah, it's almost
Pretty
under
easy math.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not even close.
Amount of 6,000.
69.
I just dropped it on mine.
Hey, whereas council re-tender the hauling of 1,000 yards to fill from southeast 14-19-15 to Kelwood landfill located at southwest 13-19-15 west. Therefore be it resolved that council awarded the tender to Rempel for the amount of $6,069. Do I have a mover?
Dave did already.
Oh, Robert Scott, mover, Dave, second. All in favor? Carry.
Can that come from gas tax money?
Yes, sir.
No, it's fine.
Goes right with it.
Oh, I shouldn't do that, I don't know what your programs are.
That's right.
It's okay.
You have his permission. Just this one time.
So the same thing with the
Road tender?
that can come from gas tax money?
The fill, I don't think can, I thought you were referring to the one on mine.
Both.
I will check with the tender one, I'm not quite sure. So we only received one tender for this road building.
Is that a reasonable one?
How many yards is it coming in?
I don't know if I did the math. Did you do the math?
We did the math, I think it was 1,100 yards, 1,162 if my memory serves correct.
That's right from the highway right to that intersection, basically.
No, it's 1,200.
1,100 feet.
It's from the highway basically to the, an approach, the first approach that goes in. It's the worst part. So that, because there was more to do.
It was bad for a truck too.
Yeah, well, we did the intersection a couple of years ago, at 84, 86, sorry, and 109, and then now this is the next worst stretch. There's gonna leave a hole in the middle, like a small pothole in the middle of the two. But I mean, to get within budget range was, me and the foreman, public works foreman of the day measured it off, and it was about 2,000 feet to do it all, so we
2,600 feet to
just
start
doubled
with.
it up to do it all, so.
Is it getting geo too?
Yeah, geo and 20-foot top.
That's what the tender we said we do, yeah, geo, then 12 inches of pit run, and then top dress with gravel.
We budgeted 20.
We budgeted for 20 for that project. 33.
So he's supplying or we're supplying?
I think it's all contractor. Everything's contractor here. The gravel and.
Gravel,
And cloth is all his.
Was that right?
Everything.
Oh,
According to the
So
tender.
that's 33 for everything?
Yeah, just this piece right here, where my finger is.
And what's he using for material then?
Well, I assume the dangerous work, they bring the same stuff as you got to the
2 years ago.
piece of road we did east of that. And that was.
There should be the other, or should be the next
It's
one.
not what you used on that other stretch.
But it was spec'd in the tender.
It was?
Last year.
Okay, because, yeah, we asked for a percentage of foot and stuff, but he brought us a product from east
Then
of
we asked for 4 inches down.
Because I never actually read that part because I was busy.
So we estimated 20,
Melissa,
bid is
is
33.
there water in
Yeah, we
the
quoted for 20.
other room?
Will you grab water for, there's none underground? We can grab you some, Robert. There's some in the office. There's some water bottle.
We're over
What's
budget.
that? Yeah, just the water bottles.
Like we budgeted
There
for
should be
budget.
some.
And
Does everybody want water?
I got, so.
I don't know.
Anybody else want water?
I'd have.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, that piece of road needs to be done.
That's something that has to get done, did you?
That's the thing, we need to be done this
We're
year.
in a budget problem, well, it's
Well,
really need to be done.
it's one of the few things we did budget for, it's just over budget. It's,
So the advantage is Ron budgeted 20,000 for Road 100 to be built, but we built Road 100 on our own, with our own manpower, so it didn't cost us any money. So that money could go to this project, so we would have $40,000.
And then we're gonna need the extra money that's left over to finish that project, because we're gonna need gravel.
On Ron's road.
Yes.
But I'll say one thing though, like, if we're not paying the gas tax.
We'll deal with that one later.
I budgeted gas tax to be used for this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if we don't spend that money, it's just losing purchasing power. It's getting eroded due to inflation.
There's no way it costs us $20 to do that road.
well,
No,
They get,
And I-
there's no way. They spent 4 days in, for 5 days,
Yeah,
So far.
4.5, yeah.
and I actually saved some of my own gravel budget, my good gravel, street gravel for some of this too. Because I mean, Melissa will know the exact numbers, but I backed off on some of my other roads, not in a bad way, not in a bad way. Just to save room for this project, because do we need to do it this year? I'm gonna say yes, because we put it off last year, because it wasn't in the budget last year. I finally got it in the budget this year. So,
And for gravel for Road 100 to come from the coast guard.
Yeah.
Or this would be the trucking would be, truck would be the, whatever's gonna be truck.
Yeah.
And there'd be, I did a quick calculation. We went 3 inches, I thought it was like around, I'm hoping 250 yards. What do you want? Hey?
Quarter mile. Yeah.
did you want?
Well, we're gonna go double wide on that.
Yeah, double wide, maybe going 3 inches thick versus an inch thick.
Yeah. Okay, so
And Ron's project will come out of gas tax also. That's where it's budgeted to come out of gas tax.
we'll say 16 feet
Yeah.
wide times.
That's a new build, isn't it?
0.25 per foot.
The 100, yeah.
New
It's
build.
coming out of gas tax as well as the repair for Earl's Road.
We can use that for repairs too.
Yeah, just the same as the Boundary Road that we did in your.
Yeah, I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, the same thing.
Because I remember there a while ago, a long time ago,
260 yards.
you couldn't use it for repairs.
We can't use it for
But you can-
maintenance,
but you
like
can use
gravel,
it. Oh,
but we can use it for the two projects that we.
For building.
Like your project and
Yeah.
then.
As long as
So
there's no
10
way
foot
equipment on the
gravel.
job site. As long as there's no wiring equipment on the
Yeah.
job site. That's all that.
oh yeah, no, I was just wondering, because for new build, like, or repair, remanufacture,
Yeah.
we can use it.
And then we'll sprinkle it again.
That way it doesn't impact our
Top dressing next spring.
our deficit problem.
Because that money is sitting there. in
So
reserve.
we're gonna be looking at what, $10 here for trucking?
Ken Woodell had a really good
Fine.
call.
Would be 5, well, yeah.
We had a good comment a month
Should be
ago.
able to.
So he did
But it
really
was
enough for 5.
He was talking about where he
So
was
$5
there.
Don't
They
$5
didn't
a
fix
yard.
the potholes
Yeah.
because they pushed that problem.
Or 550 minus,
Push it
I
on,
think.
push it on.
Yeah.
Your one
Now
was
it's
550?
massive.
I think it was 550.
Well, it really should be the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what's like bigger, you should do a small stretch.
Yeah.
Next year
It has to be.
It has
more
to be.
expensive. Next
Should be.
year it's worse,
Yeah.
more expensive, right?
So
So
that's
that's
what
it.
2 years ago this way.
550.
Whatever we want.
A third less.
That's 25.
And it's gonna be 10% more next year too. Like it just, so we need to spend it now.
In here, yes. And it's fixing April.
$1,385.
Right.
So, yeah, between both projects, 40 grand will be good, because the gravel would cost us trucking it in about $1,500 ballpark. And then, of course, we need a culvert, and we'll have to get some locates, and we'll talk later.
Well, there's a different situation though between the general operating fund and the gas tax reserve. So if it's coming out of gas tax reserve, there is money in gas tax reserve, but you can only use it for specific things.
Yeah.
The general fund is where we're having the issues financially.
More.
So they're different
For sure.
animals, I guess.
Good ones.
And
Well, I think if you lay that on, it's not to go again, right?
Did you only do it one time deal?
Yeah.
Got a gas tax.
Yeah.
Rob,
The only concern I have.
Well, not really. No, this is only.
My concern is why is there only one bid?
No problem, for dessert.
Why was there only one bid? That's like.
Oh, I don't know.
Dessert?
I think everybody's taxed in the area, the company's big enough to do that worker tax in the area. So I think that's my guess.
Sure.
So we'll think it's, go ahead, go.
I'd like to see it go, so I guess I'll make the motion we go. Because it's one more mess cleaned up a little more section of a mess in my neck of the woods, so.
Whereas the council agreed to request proposal to repair Road 109 North, therefore be it resolved, the council agreed to award the tender to Rimple Backhoe and Gravel Limited for the amount of $34,650. Do I have a mover? Seconder. Or Scott. All in favor? Carried.
But you,
I didn't attach the document I wanted to attach for you guys on the prepayment refund request. So we received a prepayment refund request and I pulled the financial information and I thought I had attached it, but it's not there. A repair had called because they had provided payment for taxes in advance so that they could get the 3% discount on their taxes. And the municipal government provided the educational tax rebate on the taxes immediately, and the RMs weren't advised ahead of time. So we didn't know in January, February, March, when people were prepaying, that they were not going to have taxes that were going to be the same or more than last year's taxes. So the bylaw states that folks are allowed to prepay their taxes based on last year's taxes. So that's what this individual did. They prepaid their taxes based on last year's taxes. They had 11 different properties, and they, across all of the properties, overpaid because of the educational rebate that was instantly provided on taxes. So now they're asking for a refund of the dollars that they had provided in advance. The advantage of getting a prepayment, or the advantage of prepaying, is you get a 3% discount off your tax bill. So they were able to get that 3% discount, and then the credit would be carried forward to next year for them, or they would be provided a refund if council decides that they should get their money back.
Without this, no open to do that.
Because we don't recover that money, we forward it. So we're refunding money out of our pocket on behalf of the school division. And we're taking the financial hit, and the school division doesn't notice, and they're not gonna cut us a check to make us whole.
Yeah, like if we would have been able to receive that school funds, we would receive it, it would be sitting in our bank, we would be gathering interest on it, and then we would give it back to them. Where this situation, I think that's what the repair is thinking as well, that I could have that money sitting in my bank account, gathering interest. But then the next tax year is in January, so we're basically 3 months away from 2024 tax year, and they will get the discount on that credit for the 2025 tax year as well. We'll run the discount when we close year end, and the discount will automatically be applied to that credit on their account.
Instead of giving them a refund.
Instead of giving it back.
so all we'd be doing by giving them the check today is speeding it up by 3 months.
Yeah, like they get the money back and then they give us the money back. And
But more importantly, we're giving back money out of our pocket that somebody else has.
Yeah.
Somebody else's pocket.
Yeah,
well,
it's
and
insulated.
every time we cut a check, it costs us
True.
money.
Yeah,
To
that's a good
write
point.
the check and do the check. And
So the refund was gonna be school tax credit?
they overpaid on their 11 properties. So on one property, they overpaid $35. On another, they paid $100. On another, they paid over $200 because they just paid their 2023 balances. So in total, across all the properties, the balance, the credit is $1,200. So their tax bills are about, I think, $12,000 was their total tax bill. And they want the credit given back to them. Other RMs do it upon request. Some RMs don't. I did call around to other CAOs to see if there was any municipal requirement for us to give the money back, and there isn't. So it's really up to council if you want us to issue the credit or you want us to not issue the credit. I'm just more worried about folks coming forward and asking for their credits back when they have like a $35 credit and now they want us to issue them a check. That's more what I'm concerned about.
So in the past, that 3% credit, when they come in to pay, prepay their taxes, would they get that discount right now? How does that
Yeah,
work?
they get it right off the bat.
For
So,
January.
yep,
But it's actually money they get to not write you? The
Yeah.
check? Like, so if their balance was $100, they get to keep $3 out of that 100 and
Yes.
write you a check for $97?
yes.
It is, on the RM side, it's the worst deal that anybody's ever thought of. It's just a
Yes,
bad
we
idea.
need to discuss that also.
Yeah.
Well, it was an administration nightmare starting, I would think, right? And then,
Well, this would be administration nightmare too, if you see that.
And you're also, in order to get guaranteed funds that are guaranteed to come, you're giving somebody a bonus to pay them just a little bit early, but you're gonna get them anyway. Like, it's typically you get a discount in the business because you're trying to sweeten the pot.
Right.
You don't have to sweeten the pot here because you have to pay them. You just have to.
so we can eliminate that process and it would save us the process.
But there'd be a lot of
A lot of a lot of RMs do that, 3%. I was wondering, I don't know.
No.
I never
The
really checked into
discount
that.
is an old school practice that mostly has been phased out, but we're still holding on.
We're still in grandfather.
We're still holding on.
Well, then phase that, write that in your notes, Jeff, and phase that out too.
We should
Your grandfather
review,
did.
yeah, we should review the tax levy bylaw as well, because we're actually giving discounts all the way up to the
I
end of
won't pay my
August.
taxes early next year, so don't do
Which
it.
is
1%, right?
0.5%.
0.5%.
So if we're gonna give a discount, I think we need to analyze when we need the
Just
funds
heck of a thing done
coming into
before
our
that.
bank. And if we don't need the funds because we're not really gathering that much tax revenue ahead of time, but we're giving away thousands of dollars, I'll pull that data for you for next meeting, so you can see how much we got in advance and how much we gave in discount.
And it's really messy right now just because of how, with the change of government, like everybody's been monkeying with this.
Yeah.
And they got really monkeyed last year.
Who said they're gonna muddy it up next year too?
Yeah, well, it's just an ongoing problem.
And there are accounts, several accounts with credits. Some of them are only $30 or $20 or whatever, but there are accounts with credits, and I don't want to get in a situation where we're issuing checks back.
You're gonna do what?
It's not a,
Yeah, I agree.
Pay the tax so they just lose.
Nice boxes, eh?
I don't think so.
What would they want? What if they did?
I don't think we should pay him up till he's gonna get it on his next year's taxes. And that's it.
With the definition of where the money actually come from, I agree with that.
Yeah, money's already in the bank, he's got money in the bank.
Oh, really?
Same thing that the bank account.
Yeah, it's gonna come off, it's 2 months, he'll pay it 2 months.
So 2 months in,
Yeah.
and what interest are you gonna get off that money in 2 months?
Yeah, and I think we can open up a can of check right away.
Yeah.
Okay. However, with the rural municipality allows a discount for payments to property taxes based on the previous year's taxes as a per bylaw 1-2024, and whereas the ratepayer has requested a refund of their payment, therefore be it resolved that the council do not approve issuing a refund to the ratepayer. Do you have a mover? Sure. All in favor? Carried.
and then on the heels of that, if we're gonna continue to have the discount, I would propose next year when we do the tax levy bylaw, that we put a statement in the bylaw that no credits will be issued. You pay, you pay.
I don't know why you want it back, I don't understand it.
I don't
It's gonna
know.
go to next year, like.
And they'll get 3% off next year off that,
Yeah, so,
that
I
money.
don't know, like, to me, I don't know why you want it.
Money in the bank.
Every individual is different.
I guess, yeah, everyone's got their own way to do things.
Okay.
So I did add the undeveloped policy on here, mostly just for you guys to review and provide feedback and comment if you actually want to move forward with this type of strategy.
I think it's something we can look in the future, but there's been a recent situation undeveloped road, where I think we need a bylaw more than a policy. The situation and the northern boundary road has come apart again. Markville 111. Then, I remember that's been an ongoing situation up there. They were just a trail that was opened up again, and now a person or persons have put 8 large ground bales up there and blocked off the trail. So information was sent to conservation, to other legal authorities, and they are aware of the situation. But since the bales are on actual road allowance, their jurisdiction is limited to what they can do. Conservation would help us or issue us a permit to go and clean up the mess. There is a list of volunteers that, with permission from council, that would donate their time, fuel, and energy to remove the debris from the trail. Bad part of this is you remove it, is it going to come back again? And where do we somehow, it's not a huge, how to put it, I guess, there's other major priorities within the municipality, but this is getting out of hand. So it goes on and on and on, and it's not stopping. And I don't see nothing stopping. I don't know how. If you look at the authority side of it, the conservation or police, they're looking for us to have a policy in place or a bylaw in place that maybe that could put some more teeth into the meat, if you want to call it.
So this is our policy now?
That's our policy. We need a bylaw.
We don't have, it's
We don't
not
have a
approved.
bylaw. Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
nothing's approved either, so.
It's a draft.
Oh, this is just a draft?
Nothing's in place.
Oh,
Could you send the Kelwood Fire Department to do a controlled burn up there?
You would have to get, yeah, you'd have to probably get permission from,
But you said it's on road allowance.
yeah, but if Crown Lands there, you'd have to get up there.
Another
Via-
cost of
Yeah.
We do it for free or just for the practice.
So I guess I'm looking for suggestions, direction, support, whatever thoughts, I guess.
Because it's still a joint road though, so it's, like, you can't pass a bylaw unilaterally on that joint road. That's the problem there.
Yeah, that's it, right?
And also in our, with our road agreement with Curry, RM of Rosedale Council, we also were supposed to maintain that part of the road too. So
That's the agreement. we
that's an
signed.
agreement, so it's kind of a gray area. It's unfortunately getting to a not a great situation, put it that way. You can say there's other bigger fires than you put out, but this is ongoing, and I guess the ratepayers of the area, concerned citizens, are wanting our support and feedback as well.
Well, we can't let it go on.
Yeah.
Because in most of our other undeveloped roads are just that. They got a rut on them or a stone in them or something. This is
people putting debris on us, things are falling out of the sky, it's no different than fence posts jumping on the ground on an undeveloped road, if you want to call it. You know, no, not trying to be sarcastic, but there's stuff going on that shouldn't be going on, so if we have a policy or a bylaw, pardon me, in place, maybe there's some help to that. At what value, I don't know, I can't determine that. Because individuals will do what individuals do. So,
I just thought Curry didn't want nothing to do with it. I didn't realize we had,
yeah, McCreary doesn't want nothing to do with
I
that.
didn't realize that we had to maintain it for
well,
that
that's,
stretch.
yeah, that was, like I say, it's that bushland trail, if you want to call it, but
Yeah.
it's still undeveloped road.
So this is on the agenda because of Rule 111, or is this, and you're saying that in addition? to
Just something that we should.
This
some
came up,
degree,
yeah,
yeah.
something we should think of.
because we've got a couple of those road problems in our roads that we need to address.
Yeah.
It's
And-
not just this area. Yeah.
Give full credit to the Manitoba Conservation to reach out to me and make me aware of that they are supporting whatever we do and they are willing to work with us. If they need work permits to go up there or do something or whatever, so to stop the ongoing, I don't have the answer for that. I wish I did.
I'll speak from the other side.
Excuse me.
But that's what the other side is saying. So every time we do something, somebody else does something, so that we do something, so they do something. The easiest way to stop is to just stop. and say, no, whatever, it's just a bunch of bales, and never think about it again. That's stopping.
I don't know if something happened this time. Nothing, I don't think anything happened, he just put the bills on.
You just put the bills
Just
on,
ignore it.
yeah,
Just ignore it.
yeah, but that's not gonna happen.
That's gonna go, well,
Yeah.
it's like we're gonna make.
The residents of the area are not back, they don't want, they want the person or persons to stop putting debris on the trail. But
And conservation is sending a clear message that they're saying, go, we want nothing to do with this. Crown Lands is sending a clear message saying we want nothing to do with this. Everybody's sending a clear message saying, we want nothing to do with
they don't
this.
have any jurisdiction on it.
But they don't want to get it
They
involved.
have been involved, they've done face-to-face meetings with the persons, and they thought that was going to stop the situation.
No, well, that's what I was getting at.
Tis the season, that started last year, about this time, and it's time when it started.
Too many people wanna go hunting.
It's the, tis the season.
Hunters love going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
you might be able to-
my
Go around
suggestion
the bend.
Yeah.
is to
Oh, we can
contact Tim Coffin at Trails
That
Manitoba
one
and,
undeveloped. that we-
and get that designated as a hiking trail going through the Crown Land area.
Yes, we still
And,
went through it.
and get it so that it's designated as a trail, it's in funding, establish it, and collaborate with it.
But I think that's a good idea, but I think this same person or persons is gonna block that trail, the same as ever.
Yes, but now this will
That
be
could be a
not
Trails
a,
Manitoba.
this is Trails Manitoba now.
Yeah, no problem.
Not just a municipal one,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not municipal, it's not trails.
And the other thing I wanted to say was went to that meeting last night at the town library with those two consultants that came in on how to, revitalize your community. And they were talking about the mountain bike side of things. And they were strongly suggesting there's I think it's Live is the mountain bike company name. They have the Canadian ambassador for their company brand apparently is in Winnipeg. And they were encouraged to bring her here to start developing mountain biking. So that could be another thing that you could tie into that too.
I thought you were gonna check into that year's last year first, Jeff.
No, I provided you, because there was a deadline for the grant. So the Trailblazer group, I sent that link about where to apply for the grant. But it's coming up again. The deadline's coming up to apply for grants to get some funding. So that's a way to change the discussion as opposed to continue the argument.
Being Trails Manitoba, I think conservation have a little more to do with. Because they're kind of in the same group sort of thing.
What would it take to develop that road? Maybe we should just develop it,
2 days of the bulldozer.
make it a road.
Yeah.
Then it's not an undeveloped road anymore, it's a road.
Go up there and push with the cat, guarantee that, bet you there would be some funding for
Kind of like
it.
what we did on 100, except different. That was more extreme, I think.
But what's it benefiting us?
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It benefits more.
Benefit some people.
It benefits more as the trail on it.
Yeah, the trail, I know, yeah,
And the fact that one individual or a group of individuals decides to make a mess is a horrible thing. What we need to make, an example of, is not the right words to use, maybe, but an example of that this can't go on.
Can't go on, no, I understand that part.
I can't wait for winter. Then I'll take my sled up there and my son will take a snow bike and one for
And you,
other snow bikes.
and you'd be more than welcome to come, and well, it's the last year ago, full year ago, maybe 2 years, Jeff walked up there, and myself walked up there too, and it's until the damage now, like, you just cannot. You can't ride your sled past far, I don't know how many meters or feet inside you can't. Because and now these bales have made that, well, you could get hurt. If you get a big snowstorm, you and your son go up and over the bales that are there now, you're dropping 6 feet on the other side, or whichever side you drop on, you could get killed or worse. So, I mean, it's the damage could potentially happen. If we don't do something about it, then our hikers and bikers and snowmobilers are,
Well, that's the
mercy
mercy
of.
of snow bikes. You just go around, whatever. You go in between the trees. That's what they do. They love the trees. They'd rather go through the trees.
This area is very challenging. The trail is a trail. It's hard to go one way, you can't, and the other side is really bad. So-
if you find a way around these obstacles with your bike or your sled, you'll hang on the wire there
Yeah.
and get to the next
Anything
thing.
that's stop, yeah.
It's dangerous, it's no joke. I mean, it's no,
You're not gonna get him to stop, I know that. That's not gonna happen. We figured that out a long time ago.
yeah.
It's just gonna be what they call like Hatfields and McCoys. not gonna get along.
Well, but it's funny how one person or a group of persons can make it so horrible for the rest of us. Now we have to discuss it, and then it should never happen to start with. Common sense says.
But maybe possibly with the bylaw going forward, sometimes a piece of paper that says, okay, then here, this is our bylaw, and,
Yeah.
you know, you're bound to penalty at some point in time if you do something wrong, so maybe that would be somewhat a deterrent, and also it gives the legal authorities an extra piece of paper to have a tool in their toolbox as well. So I know it's gonna take a fair bit of time to develop a bylaw to do that.
Is there been a camera set up?
Do we have to have a bylaw that
One set of
Curry's gonna
cameras.
sign with us?
The other side.
Because we have to have Curry on
You
there
can't
because
go there
we're
being one year up there.
we're together.
We know how that's gonna look like.
That's what I mean, so we can't write a bylaw.
Okay,
That's not
several
ours.
hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, it's almost, yeah.
There's nobody up there. Weird.
But we can do controlled burn at Gronstein, go there.
Yeah, well, I guess it would have to be between Groundlands and probably Parks Canada, because you're only half mile from the park.
Well, we actually we are assigned to fight fire in the Raglan National Park too.
Okay.
Kelly Fire's on their paid system, so. And we need some practice, we haven't done practice in a while.
That's what I was telling you about.
Okay, well, this is something to think about.
Yes.
That data is somewhere, I can't remember. The RM.
Okay, community report. Community reports. Did everybody go through the meetings of the CAO report, the police report? Was there any questions on that?
Are you including the CAO report in that one?
Mm-hmm. It's on here, yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
So there's 92, going back to culverts, and we talked about it. Lewandowski culvert good now?
No, that will be coming done. We talked to Jeff, he didn't want us there much before, till harvest is done.
Okay.
So that's, actually, Chris and I were just talking about that here the other day, so that will be scheduled to be done. I've probably, what we should be doing is reaching out to Jeff, maybe he's already done harvest. I don't know if we can speed up the process, we'll have to get it done sooner than later, put it that way.
It's a nice time to put in culverts right now.
Mhm.
Make it nice and
That's
dry.
that's a special culvert, because that's a month-old sucker.
Yeah,
We have the locates and everything for us.
and we have culvert.
And we have material. Yeah.
Culverts.
Culvert, yeah.
No, I just didn't see the others.
Geez, folks, worse than cranking that out. 180 work and 158 complete.
There's not very many, and then there'll be more complete here. The ones that were being presented to council just have a status of council beside them.
Yeah.
And then I guess the high points for this month is we have our new IT service provider. They've come on board, so we have double authentication now on our computers. So not anybody can just log in and get access to our computers now. And then they'll be monitoring and making sure our backups are good. And then tax sale next month. And then of course the foreman being hired. In July, we sent a letter to the Riding Mountain Motel that they needed to cut their grass. They did not. We sent them an invoice, so they've been invoiced for those service charges. The animal control officer's been hired, and he has been sent on his first
Mission?
assignment.
Has that been successful yet?
No, unfortunately.
Is the tractor still there?
I did talk to
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's on my little list here.
I'm wondering if you can take me a picture of it, because I talked to the RCMP about it yesterday, because I wanted to know if it's the Highway Traffic Act or who is it that I need to call to get the tractor moved.
Removed.
And he said, it's fine. And I said, well, when my grader goes down there and smashes into it in the winter, like I'm concerned for the grader operators.
Absolutely.
when we're pushing snow down the municipal
Yeah,
road,
it's far
but
enough
maybe
away.
the wing won't catch it.
No, it won't catch it,
It's
but
far enough?
it's gonna be, it's gonna create a snow problem.
Yeah.
Yes. His
It's a snow
suggestion was to reach out to them
Mhm.
and ask them if we could move it into their yard and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Because he said he's not touching, or he's not doing anything.
But they were there a few times and I seen them and I was gonna stop, but I didn't.
Mhm. So I don't know.
2 cars, usually.
I can reach out and see if we can pull it into their yard so it doesn't cause a snow
Mhm.
issue
Mhm.
for us in the wintertime, because that's what I'm most concerned
Well,
about.
it's gonna create a problem for us, I know.
Yeah,
You need pictures of that or something?
yeah, I just wanted, I don't think there was a,
Ronnie, come on. I got
Understood.
you.
yeah, if you send that to me,
I see
then
it every
can
day,
share
so that's why I'm
that.
gonna take a picture of it.
Yeah, then I
Where's
can
it
share
in?
that.
Okay.
So is there any more on this?
We'll see what we can do, yeah.
Any more on the
Oh, on this
Reports.
worksheet?
Engineer reports?
Yeah.
That's what I sent the paper.
I guess on behalf of the Trans-Canada Trail Association, the one spot in my ward that hasn't been repaired yet, under the disaster financial assistance, what's the timeline for that?
I don't know what site it is.
That's like 20. That's one where we got those drawings that need to go
Yeah.
to there
So-
for approval, back to us for approval, and back to,
Yes.
it's gonna take some
Site
time.
10 and 20 are back with Burns Mandel, getting cost analysis performed. So we jumped the gun, so I now have the process for DFA. We were thinking the reports were given to us by Burns, we need to decide what option we're going to take. There was an interim step that was missed. Burns was supposed to provide all the financial feasibility studies on each one of the options first for us to present to the province and their engineers, and then the province and their engineers would say, you can do this or you can do that or whatever. And then if they chose an option that you guys didn't choose, we could provide an argument on why we wanted to do the alternate option and present it to them, and then we might be able to proceed with that. So that's a step that I didn't know about. So now it's back. I'm hoping to have the dollar figures sometime shortly so that we can send those back to DFA. DFA can send them to Stantec. Stantec can decide and send it all the way back. It's a lot, it's like the public utility.
Yeah.
There's a lot of back and forth, back and forth.
How can we?
It's just, I don't understand that.
Then
The
it will need to
culverts
be
are right
tendered.
there. Cover it over, it's walking trail.
Well, that's what I was wondering about, was whether
Yeah.
we can just lay it down and
We-
cover it and walk away.
We need to follow the rules.
I know,
Because
yeah,
it's
no,
not
I'm just
ours.
saying, like,
We start the
that makes
process, now we
sense.
gotta continue the
Yeah,
process.
like it's the back and forth, back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth. And the other sites, they're getting done, they're getting complete. That one will need to go back up to tender, because we haven't tendered it yet. So once we get approval from DFA to do whatever option we're supposed to do, once you guys agree, then it will go to tender.
So we can almost say it on fill it full.
I guess so.
For snowmobiles.
Well, my hands are tied, I can't do anything until Stantec approves it,
Well, if
so.
we're gonna do any work there within, cross-county trails, whatever it's called, would they then finance it then? Pay for the cost to do that? If they want it fixed up for this ongoing season?
The season's over now.
Well, no, but if they're gonna be for snowmobiling, then if you guys are concerned about that, then if we're gonna send our equipment and equipment there, then I think somebody should pay for it. Why should the RM be paying for it? It's, especially when it's a non-maintained trail. Or this road is, it's just a trail. So, Kansas Trail should be somewhat held responsible for that, I think.
I think we did go over and try to just slope it a little more. I think we tried to get that just so it wasn't such a drastic
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
But
And I've
then water
done
went
that.
through again and cut it again, so it's just a water thing, because the water does flow through there, but not for long,
Yeah.
short term.
Well, spring thing.
Yeah.
Or massive rainfall.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it was.
because the yard is taking responsibility for it under the disaster financial assistance. So, if the Trans-Canada Trail simply said, we'll take it over again, then the RM is off the hook.
I don't know how that works.
And then, see, but that's the thing, right? Like, what's happening now is everybody's just,
So they're actually, what is this, about that site, are they gonna engineer that site then?
It is an engineer's.
Oh, it is
It's
an
an
engineer
engineer
site,
site,
okay,
yeah.
that's what, yeah.
Because they were wondering if the landowner wanted to fix further down by his land there too.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm not familiar with it, just asking.
I can't remember what was chosen either, if it was.
That was the one we had the 3 voters that did, yeah.
While they were there.
It was, yeah, because we voted on that, was, I think, first choice out of 3 on that one, if I remember right.
Or they give us 4 choices.
3 choices, 3 choices.
So hopefully sooner rather than later, it's been with them for probably a month now, Burns has had it. So we should be getting the pricing any time now.
This is not a fast process, and this guy's DFA stuff has been eye-opening.
We should get an info about December.
Hey?
We should get info about December so that we can start in the spring.
I would say yeah, that's realistic. Yeah. I like what you're thinking. I like what you're thinking.
I'm just seeing how processes are working right now.
I wouldn't guarantee any of that. So.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Debbie Downer. Once we get the choice
Yeah.
that they approve, then it has to go to engineering.
Yeah.
Again, to
Yeah.
get engineered drawings on what we're gonna actually
To
tender.
re-engineer it.
And then we'll tender that option with the engineered drawings to fix
So
the
that's-
site.
Could
To be
potentially
real
be-
down right, there may not be anything till late 2025, maybe? Shovels in the ground if you want to.
But that could be a very expensive site to fix, and if all the engineering happens, it's just gonna be the
Oh,
way,
exactly.
it'd be through the roof, right?
Mhm.
Versus what Jeff just suggested, dragging it over fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes we make we make a mistake to involve some sites in the DFA program.
So that's the same.
In
Yeah.
some sense, it's sort of,
Yeah.
it's a walking snowmobile trail, we could easily fix that
I'll talk
amongst
to you
ourselves.
about that.
Just 6 or 7 of
I
us.
already did talk to him.
Well,
Well, I guess what he was
I said,
saying,
well, you might as well talk to
crossing.
them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a long, their own dealing thing.
Fix,
Like my
yeah.
side, I seen that 17,
Yeah.
4,000 bucks spent, basically for nothing. What a waste of money.
Hey,
You have to follow the regulations.
But- but
That's the whole reason.
Yeah.
What is this?
Why, Dave?
The messengers.
Why do we gotta follow the rules, Dave? Dave?
so community reports, are we done?
Yep.
Okay, be resolved that the list of reports have been received as information.
One more
August.
thing, Carl.
Okay,
Sorry. For your information, a couple of days ago, from the lottery people, the promoter, the lottery made $105,000.
Nice.
Took all this time, just heard it day before yesterday.
That was a lot of counting.
Yeah,
Wow, good.
Good.
Very
Yeah.
good.
hopefully we had another one started shortly after Christmas.
Perfect.
Your next.
Okay, number 1, August 2024 RCMP report. Number 2, September 13th, 2024, the CAO's report. Number 3, meeting minutes of NAPD, July 22nd, 2024 report. Do I have a mover? Robert Scott. Second. Okay, sure. All in favor? Carried. Open discussion. Who wants to start?
We go on camera for a few minutes.
You want to count?
Yeah, on camera. How about really? Because somebody said something earlier about on camera too much.
Yeah, if you choose.
If you choose, can we?
That's your camera. You can make that call if you like.
Yeah.
Please.
These are all out of cameras. Where's the in camera?
Please.
You have to ask nicely. Mother Mary.
Melissa,
Yes, sir.
is this in camera?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I assume we'll adjourn.
Yeah,
Well, I've got 2 things to say in open discussion. Do you want me to do it first?
Sure.
Well, we got some.
Sure, whatever you like.
Well, then,
Oh, okay. So,
Give her.
Yeah, we're,
the St. Rose Regional Landfill got $475,000 from the provincial government. And that was under the Municipal Economic Development Infrastructure Program. And the application deadline is October 6th if we want money under that program. And I didn't know if we were applying under that program.
Can you send me the actual
I
program
can.
name?
Yes, but I just thought it was interesting that they got $475,000 towards theirs. And I think if it's, I don't know anything other than reading one article, so I was hoping somebody here, and I didn't know if maybe when you had said something about the grants and whatnot, I wasn't sure if we were already applying under that program with other
No, I
stuff.
haven't applied
It
yet.
seemed like it was new, so didn't know I'll send you that link.
Yeah, perfect.
And then the second thing was, what's our share of the hospital costs? Have we figured that out yet?
Don't know.
I haven't heard exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think your best is
It's
dogs.
a big number.
The dog's sleeping, yeah.
And then I put it on camera.
Gonna awake one of these days.
It's
Gonna start to bite, yeah.
Just give another note.
I'd like to know that too.
Yeah.
I had spoke to the gentleman and he said that Nicola was providing some funding and some in-kind type items for the area. And they were not necessarily going to be invoicing municipalities in the area any costing.
That was said at the main meeting at, here at the Legion back in 2022, the meeting times. The plan had gone forward, yeah, but there should have been no extra input costs from municipalities. That was put up through.
There's been a lot of extra costs happening there.
I can
Lots of
bet you.
extra costs.
I bet you.
There's dirt that was put in place, and got moved, replaced. That's just small.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
so the
lot
stuff
of
you can
extra.
see, the stuff you can see that.
Okay, that it?
Number 3, I mean, last night, their takeaway at the end was they strongly encourage people that want to revitalize their communities to stop waiting for the big plan and the big thing to happen and start doing small steps immediately, and even one tiny step. And one of the examples they gave was vacant storefronts. As soon as it's a vacant storefront, don't wait for someone to go in. They said put up some sort of community art, some sort of a decal, something, or use it as a decorating standpoint. And even if you're going to take it down in a week, and they use the curb walk over here as an example. Yeah, over here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Just stop with the vacant storefronts and put something in there that's pretty, which made me think of, because I was there, but they were talking specifically about Nicola, but it made me think about Reading Mountain. And that made me think about this Reading Mountain Hotel and how we're not doing the town of Reading Mountain a service by letting that look like that. And that we don't have to spend a lot of money, but somebody should do something fall, Halloween, October themed out there with somebody's blessing. And I don't know who should be doing that. Maybe the local councilor that is
Well,
in
the
charge of
only
that
one
area.
that you're technically on private property in that situation.
I
it's
understand that
But
completely.
you're right, it'd be nicer to have a Halloween decoration there than nothing.
Yeah.
But it's private, still private property, which is the scary part.
And I was just wondering about maybe contacting that person and saying, we're gonna put an old wagon there with some pumpkins in it and a picture frame. And that's, I'm just relating some of the suggestions that
Yeah,
came
well,
from
it's a
that.
great idea.
No,
Be it resolved in accordance with section 152, bracket 3 of the Municipal Act, Council of the Municipality of Rosedale now move into camera to discuss legal and personal matters. The time beginning 2:58